you.
Yes, please.
Opening theme tune, start.
Da 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 da. I hate women. Da 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 da. That's it.
Oh, come on. Put more energy into it.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudtalk number 27. Red Dead Redemption 2's story is worse than you think. That's not the actual topic we'll be discussing. That's just the video. But we are talking to Sarcastic Hawke and Eric. Eric, I'm not sure what to call you these days because it's just Eric in my head. But you change it all the time. Yeah,
that's fine. Eric is just fine.
Okay. So we're talking about, I think these are perhaps one of your favorite games to discuss, and it's always with you in your heart, and it's never going to go away. Everyone's waiting. I don't know if we're going to get another Red Dead, what is it, every 8 years we get a new Red Dead? So
far, yeah.
2010.
Yeah, 2010, 2018, and talking about the next one, but I don't know.
I have doubts now, considering what Rockstar is becoming.
Oh, yeah. I see. Well, the games are the definitive simulation, like Rockstar does the definitive simulation style games, and they're hitting a niche that people, especially from America, because it takes place in America, would love to partake in. People love exploring a simulation of the wilderness or the turn of the century. And you combine that with so many elements, not only just in storytelling, which is the end of an era, which you talk about when you talk about period pieces. They always come to an end. The end of a character, the end of his lifestyle, the end of his life. And there's all these wonderful messages in the story of coming of age and learning and forgiving. And the theme of, I think, revenge. Is it the main theme of revenge?
No, in these it's more about how the main theme is how you can't escape your past. Really, everything comes back to like if you bad men don't get good endings.
Right.
I think is something that's said in the series. So.
And these guys in these stories from the first game as well, they're not. They're not bad people, but they're doing bad things.
Yeah. The thing is, they were born into a time where life was incredibly hard and hard things had to be done. But the world moved so quickly and changed so quickly that they got left behind. They don't fit into the modern world anymore. So, like it all the way through, like Red Dead 2, it's like our way of life is ending. So it's over. By the turn of the century, like America's becoming more civilized, and the days of the outlaw are completely over. So
if there was ever an adaptation argument to be made for a video game, this would seem like the simplest, most easiest to do, because we've had Western movies, we have Western series on TV for at least 20, 30 years I could think of, and the story just writes itself. It's right there. It's well done. It's well told. You got all kinds of gameplay things you could turn into fun events that would translate well to chasing down a train or whatever. Like there's all kinds of great things you can do that will keep people's attention. That's not just cowboys and Indians or whatever. It's just this would work well to the American audience, at least, because it is an American story. And I'm surprised no one has decided, hey, Rockstar, let's make a video. And they're like, well, we don't like movies from video games. So
Henry Cavill has talked about doing it, hasn't he?
No. I like Henry Cavill, but I
he's also been supposedly
Mass Effect.
Part of Mass Effect, and no one heard anything for a year or two, and now we've just been told this week, or last week rather, that Mass Effect's almost done in production. You're like, what? Excuse me?
What, the movie? What, the TV series or the game?
Oh.
It's kind of scary. I'm amazed they put it under wraps for that long. Either they have a really good, quiet PR team, or no one gives a shit, and it's such garbage no one wants to talk about.
I can imagine. I can imagine it's going to be garbage because. Also, bear in mind that that's just come out at the same time as the Halo series has like crashed and burnt, and you know. So I don't think people are very happy about adaptations anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's sad, and I'm just hoping that the stuff that I know is good, like the KOTOR stuff, which apparently is also in parts of Obi-Wan, I believe, and there's references to the Ebon Hawk in some other aspect of whatever is happening on the screen. It's nice to know that it's there, but I'm also scared for what they're going to do with it outside of the video game series, because it's such a beloved video game series the same way Halo was, and to see it in another format with people who don't care about the games is a very odd way of making a product. It's like taking a guy who hates the thing or doesn't care about the thing that people love and putting them in charge. It's silly. And that's what we almost with Halo.
We do that almost every day.
I don't know how that works. I would understand if you hire someone from the first games or like with Star Trek, the first series, or TNG, and say, we'll just use you as a consultant, and we have our own ideas.
They've hired people who actively hated the series, and who made didn't hide the fact that they actively hated the series, and the other people, like a 50% split of people who hate Halo and people who have never seen Halo or even played Halo or even knew what Halo was. And they went, you two groups of people make a Halo show. It's like, what? Why?
Some of the Twitter fans who like the series, I can't understand where they're coming from. Like, I just...
Wait, what? There are people that like this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they come from it as, it's not canon, so you can ignore it. And it's like, okay, we'll ignore it. No, why are you ignoring it? It's wonderful. Yeah, it's like...
Yeah, it's the same with Star Trek. People have to realize this is a series of other writers taking the license and doing whatever the hell they want, and they're stealing lore or they're changing lore, and no one cares. So as soon as that happens, it's a reboot. It's a soft reboot. They're doing whatever they like, and you just have to accept that, even though the writers never said that, because it's obvious.
I always look at it as all people are doing nowadays are taking original IPs, hijacking them because they know their actual ideas wouldn't work on their own. So it's a bit like I've always said, like, the sequel trilogy of Star Wars wasn't intended to be Star Wars. It was intended to be its own thing. And they realised, no, this is absolutely shit. So let's just slap some Star Wars on it. Say it's a Star Wars sequel trilogy, and we'll make money. And it's like Halo has nothing to do with Halo, but if we just slap the name Halo on it and change, make our characters, like, force our characters into existing characters.
Yeah.
And it's why things are so jarring with everything now. It's almost like these scripts are written as original ideas. They're so bad, executives won't accept them. So then they go, let's find an IP we can do. We'll say we're doing a adaptation, and we'll shove our bad stuff into it.
Right.
And that's what it feels like everything is. It's like The Witcher. The Witcher is just literally... The Witcher's was the same. They just didn't count on the Henry Cavill being such a nerd and being actually, interested in making the series close to the game. But they're trying to keep it as far away as possible. They're trying so desperately to make it the Yennefer show.
Right. I tend to think of it as the seasonal sci-fi or science fiction shows that appear on the Space Channel or whatever channel that you watch sci-fi on, that they come out of nowhere and you're like, oh, what is that? They might last a second season, but they lose popularity very quickly, which I would prefer, because then it's just some guy who has a pitch and they go, okay, here's $1 million, see what you can do, as opposed to here's this massive franchise that made billions of dollars that everyone knows, and let's screw that up for the fans. for whatever reason when we know you can make good storytelling, especially The Witcher, that has books and games and all kinds of references. And thankfully, Henry knows the games and knows the books.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, this I wouldn't do this as Geralt.
There was a news story that I read that he actually took a stand against some of the writers and said, if you make Geralt do this, he goes, I'll quit and I'll never come back and film anything again for you. But if you keep it how I've said it, he should act, I'll actually sign on and do more seasons for you. So he actually used his actual, acting chops. Not acting chops, but his, his billing. He knew his star billing was what people were.
Yeah.
It's odd. It's odd to see that because writers are usually like, this is what we've agreed upon. This is what the director has approved. This is what the producer wants. And the actor goes, no.
Yeah, but I think with it, it's like he signed on because they weren't going to stray too far from what the games were. But what they want to do was to stray so far from like the video games that you wouldn't even know it was The Witcher. So I think he put his foot down with it.
Yeah.
But that's what I heard. It could be just bullshit, but I wouldn't put it past Henry with being such a big video game nerd and being very passionate about these things.
So anyway, that's us rambling on about what Hollywood's been doing with popular franchises. What about Red Dead Redemption? What are we talking about? Is the video we're looking at right now? What's going on here?
Well, Eric found this obviously Red Dead Redemption 2 Stories Worse Than You Think. It's a terrible video in general, because I obviously disagree. But with Red Dead Redemption, obviously when it was made back in 2010, I don't think anyone expected it to be as successful as it was. It was always looked upon as like GTA's, younger brother, just something, just was made and then everyone forgot about it. But, Rockstar put a lot of effort into the story, and it changed a lot of things. Like, it blew my mind as a 16-year-old. So it was,
Well, it's very immersive for one. I mean, the graphics, even for a 2010 game, it's still pretty beautiful.
Yeah,
the way the sun sets in the desert, it's at the time it was breathtaking.
Yeah, and it was one of those where it's a bit like, I think it was Rockstar growing up, almost. Because GTA had gone a bit more silly. I mean, I know they brought it back for GTA 4, but Red Dead really, the main story really grounded stuff, and it was a really heart-wrenching story. And it wasn't how you'd expect it. It wasn't just GTA with cowboys. It was a completely different.
Yeah, the cutscenes were very much like as if it was a movie.
Yeah,
there's no music. It's just like, for example, John talking to Bonnie about his past life and sort of how you can't escape your past. People don't forget. Nothing gets forgiven.
Yeah. It's just a bit like, no matter how hard it is. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, in those years, we're talking like post Grand Theft Auto 3. There's been like not too many that are memorable. Like I think Max Payne comes to mind. There were a few others like Manhunt. I think was a big thing, but it was like, ooh, that's gory.
There was a L.A. Noire, right, too?
Yeah, L.A. Noire.
Was that from them? I don't know.
Yeah, that was from them. Yeah,
I thought it was an Australian company, and then
it
got
was
bought out.
It was their Australian. I think it was their Australian branch, but Rockstar took it over. I don't remember who it was, but
wasn't it the same with Red Dead, where it was a San Diego studio?
Yeah.
And
they've later taken it over. Yeah.
Yeah, the only other one I can think of prior to 2010 with Red Dead was Bully. And
Yeah.
we've been waiting for I think a Bully 2 for the longest time, obviously.
I still love the UK name. We couldn't call it Bully in the UK.
Why not?
What the,
Don't know why. So they called it was it Canis Canem Edit?
What?
You know, dog.
wait, what?
That's what they called it in the UK.
Canis Cadman Edit?
I think Matthias will be able to tell me what dog eat dog in Latin is, but that's what it was called in the UK.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that's a bit pretentious.
Well, they couldn't call it Bully, so they had to find something else. So they used the it was the logo, not the logo. It was the motto of the school.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So they used that. Yeah,
Strange.
it did really well.
Yeah, no, like these games, like for whatever reason, Rockstar pulls out. It doesn't matter what they do; they always produce quality. This was what I used to say back in the day. It was between Blizzard and Rockstar. Whatever they make was always blockbuster level, high quality, sold millions of units, and then for whatever reason, Blizzard went crazy and stopped making good stuff, and then Rockstar just sort of. I guess they just kept going with GTA 5 and just kept making more GTA 5 stuff.
It's the problem with Rockstar is that GTA 5 Online makes so much money that they don't need to do anything else. You know, like how Valve, once they did Steam, didn't really have to do do anything with games anymore. They make so much money out of one thing that it's a bit like any other content's like a side thing. Which is why Red Dead 2 was such a shock with how good it was and how much effort they put into it.
Right, and I would say that along with I would say Bully, but that's just my understanding. I never actually played Bully, but from what I heard, people like it so much that along with Red Dead, those are what they expect. They want to see a sequel. They want to keep seeing sequels. And with GTA, they're going to make a GTA 6. You just don't know when.
Yeah. Yeah, because I played. Obviously, I played.
They're very down low.
Was that Eric?
Oh yeah, no, they're very low key.
Yeah, but with Red Dead, the first Red Dead, obviously, I always see it as obviously growing up. I always see it as It started a really bad trend though, which annoyed me for years. Of the protagonist dying in a video game. Yeah. Because after that, because obviously, spoilers, John Marston doesn't make it to the end.
There's going to be huge spoilers. So
yeah. But after that, I noticed every single video game that was like a AAA game had a similar thing of the protagonist dying. And
like what, for example?
Well, number one, the next game I actually played after it was Mass Effect. The Mass Effect series I found did it with Shepard. He died in the end. Dead Space 3 killed it off. Assassin's Creed 3 killed off their main character. It was his. I can't remember whoever's the guy in the future.
Desmond.
Yeah, Desmond. So that's 3 of them that came out quickly after Red Dead 2.
Infamous 2, they killed off the main character too.
Yeah. Who else is it? I mean, even in when I played was it that Dragon's Dogma? They kill off the main character. You kill yourself in that one. That was weird. And then that came out just a bit after it. I mean, the only game actually that I remember playing around that time that didn't do that was Dragon Age 2.
Run away.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. The thing is, in Red Dead Redemption, it's shocking, and you really don't, expect it to happen. By the end of that era, by the end of, like, say, it was about 2013, 14 when it all stopped.
after that, you sort of expected every protagonist to die in their game and everything like that.
It was a bit different in the first Red Dead Redemption compared to other games like Mass Effect, where it's this weird heroic sacrifice. With Red Dead, it was kind of like, oh, this is as far as I can go. I can't escape this.
Yeah, the thing with obviously John Marston's death is it is a sacrifice, because he's sacrificing his life so his family can live on. But it's one of those where it's a bit like it's soul destroying, because you've seen him go through all this to get it back, and then it's ripped away because the government has just decided that he needs to go. And he's going to have his name erased. All his deeds are going to be, erased from history. No one will ever know who he is, and he's just murdered at the end of the day. So that's one of the things where you're a bit like.
Also, then you play as his son, and it kind of sucks because he becomes what his father didn't want him to be, an outlaw.
Yeah,
and pretty much continue. You take revenge for your father's death, and then that's it. It's like what now?
Yeah, so obviously you get to explore the whole map as Jack Marston, but it's an empty world. I mean, there's still stuff to do in it. You can still have fun playing the game, but from a story perspective, it's like there's nothing more. You've just become an outlaw. You've got no one. It's just sort of Red Dead is a very depressing series. I've just realised.
It is. I mean, even though there's good moments, fun moments, even, it's just sad overall when you think about, especially now that you have Red Dead Redemption 2 on the back end.
Yeah,
it just went all this shit.
The only positive people take out of Red Dead is there's an Easter egg in GTA 5, and there's a book called Red Dead by Jack Marston, in I think is it Franklin's apartment as like an Easter egg to say that Jack became a writer after he got revenge on his dad, revenge for his dad.
Isn't there a Red Dead online game that's been going on for a while?
So both Red Dead games have an online component, and Red Dead 1's online is still going, I think it is, and that's been going on since.
They shut it down.
Did they shut it down? Well, it was still going last time I heard.
I don't know. I wanted to check it out, and I just saw it was down. So,
well then.
I don't know.
Well, then no. But Red Dead 2 has an online component, but they actually sold that as a separate game as well.
Right.
So you can get to it with Red Dead 2 or fork out £25. Well, it's £25 here, and I was like, why would I want to do that? But that's completely dead. That's no one's. They're just not. They're not interested in updating it or doing anything or any new content. So. They've sort of just abandoned it for GTA.
There was even a story mode to it, I think, and then I played it and there was never an ending to it.
Loads of things end on a cliffhanger, and you're like, "Well, should I carry on?" I'm like, no point.
How do I finish it? You don't. Okay.
So yeah, that's one of the problems. It's like the games are so good that it's just a shame that Rockstar just like, we're not interested in anything anymore with it. We're going on to GTA. You're like, why? Like it's been 4 years now since Red Dead 2's come out, and they've added nothing to single player.
No, not even an Undead Nightmare.
Yeah, because
really cool for the first game. It would have. Such a shame that they never did it for the second.
Yeah, the first game, Undead Nightmare, was amazing. Back when DLC was actually DLC, and because Undead Nightmare was a completely separate game where you fight in a zombie apocalypse in the West.
and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's one of the best zombie games I've ever played.
Well, that's good.
It's just so
Yeah, no, a lot of people talk about zombie apocalypse games or the zombie apocalypse in general. What do you think you would do if you had the zombie apocalypse happen right now? And I like that there's at least content or gaming, rather, that you can experience that in some bizarre way. It's a little bit more of a simulation, though, in Red Dead because it's so detailed and grounded compared to Left 4 Dead or all these other zombie games that are... well, even Dying Light 2, I would imagine, is grounded, but it's more acrobatic with its gameplay, jumping between buildings in this supposed city with all these, I would say, magical zombies. I don't know what to call them, but there's sort of over the top with their abilities and how they react to sunlight. And it's not your typical zombie story, let's say, with all the way that zombies would traditionally act to sound or to the smells. It's they make their own lore.
Yeah, because with Red Dead Undead Nightmare, it's an Aztec curse that causes zombies to rise up and everything. But they act they act like normal zombies. Like you've got to shoot them in the head. They rise up from the graves. They are dead bodies and everything. So it's really good. And obviously, you don't get access to like a lot of guns, and you're struggling for resources. But it's good, and it's like a completely new game. As in, there's cutscenes and voice actors. It's not just like you run around shooting things. There's actually a story, and it was really well done back then. And I just don't know why Rockstar didn't do anything to like that in Red Dead 2.
All right. Well, here's a tip from Great Scott. I wasn't expecting that, but thank you, sir. Red Dead Redemption 2 story has some issues, namely Arthur's whole consumption TB thing only strikes when it's convenient, and the fact that Arthur nor any of the other surviving gang members are ever brought up again, but overall, I'd honestly say it's good.
With the TB thing, it's if you actually pay attention to Arthur's character model, you can actually see as the chapters go along him getting iller and iller, and it's a subtle hint that the first time you play it, you don't notice it. So it's TB. The minute you do a certain mission, you've consigned Arthur to death, pretty much. So
Well, I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I guess TB in reality not as was it progressive as they displayed it in the game, but
yeah.
I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
what you would say, suspension of disbelief, I suppose.
and I always look at it as you look at what Arthur's that went through. There's a lot more stuff that happened to kill him off, and they say repeatedly in the storyline if he just goes somewhere nice and warm, he could extend his life. He can live with the illness for a lot longer. It's just the fact that obviously he sticks with Dutch and the Van der Linde gang, and it just gets worse and worse, and he just exasperates the illness further. So
Yeah.
I don't think getting beaten half to death as well helps with TB. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
All right. So are we going to watch parts of this video? Or are we going to just start pressing play? Like, what do you want to do here?
Which part do you want to cover, Eric?
Well, I thought I forget what's because he has timestamps. So I think it's called plot armor and then John's character. But I did want to ask a question, maybe, because it's one of those interesting cases where, like, I actually didn't have interest for the second game because they said it was going to be a prequel, and I don't care for prequels. and boy, was I wrong. So I always like to ask the question of like, are prequels necessary? Like, can they work? And then, just as a general question. I know there's plenty of prequels out there. I know people like to use Star Wars as an example for. Yes, they can work or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why Red Dead 2 works as a prequel, works in general, is because it can be its own game, its own story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas it, like with that previous super chat saying, there's a few things that don't quite flow into Red Dead 1, and I'm willing to overlook that sort of stuff, because when we see John in the first game, he's not really talking to people who would know. You know what I mean? It's a bit like he's only telling people certain information anyway. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to say what happened to. Pearson, the cook, went on and opened a store in Rhodes. And Bonnie McFarlane's going to be like, "Who the fuck? What? Who the hell's that? I don't know who that." You know what I mean? And it doesn't really.
It is. Well, it is. I know this is one of the issues, and I can overlook it, but it's like Arthur's such a big impact on John's life that it's sort of, and of course they didn't know they were going to make a character like Arthur in the first game, so it's like, why is he never mentioned?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they try and hand wave it in Red Dead 2 in the epilogue by saying John doesn't talk about Arthur because it upsets him too much. So I can see him trying to do that, but yeah, it is one of those things where it's a bit like Arthur was such a large part of everything that it's strange he's not mentioned in the first game. But like you said, Eric, they didn't expect to make a second one.
Yeah, if the events of the prequel have nothing to do directly with the events of the original, then it's fine, because the problem with prequels is you have this predetermined path that everything is going to happen a certain way. And it's kind of funny because for whatever reason, like we had Star Trek Enterprise, which was a prequel to the original Star Trek, like from the 60s. And now we have a soft reboot called Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is a retelling of that. It's still a prequel to the original Star Trek, and in it, the character has a vision of the future that is also predetermined. So it's kind of like the writers are like, "Oh, we're doing a prequel. Let's just say we have this indisputable knowledge of the future where Pike becomes a vegetable." And that's like the major theme of the first two episodes. You're like, "Oh, it's at least intelligent enough to acknowledge it, but it's so in your face." It's like, "Oh yeah, this is a prequel and this is going to happen in 10 years." And you're like, "Okay, interesting." You didn't have to do that, but okay, sure. So
the thing with Red Dead 2 in regards to it being a prequel, all it had to do as a prequel was show the Dutch Vanderlyn gang, break up, show John be, abandoned by the gang, and then sort of, that's it. That's it, really. That's all it had to do.
Yeah,
and it did that. The extra stuff is just extra stuff.
Yeah, like, you want the gameplay to be the same, but with better elements, better controls, better graphics, better more of the same.
Yeah.
That's what you want out of a sequel, or rather a number 2 at the title. Whether it's a prequel or otherwise, the gameplay should be better. So. Yeah.
And I think, Red Dead 2 does loads of things better than Red Dead 1. I just think it does everything a lot better. I missed some of the things they've cut out, like certain side games and side jobs. I kind of missed that, but in terms of gameplay, graphics and stuff, it's a lot better.
Right.
There's more to the world's more alive. I will always say Red Dead 2's open world is like a real living, breathing world. So
Yeah, I mean, I always like the addition of like the dialogue option, being able to greet people or just make fun of them or insult them.
Yeah.
It's that was something I really like. Just
yeah,
The world's
It's
ahead.
hey, your face reminds me of the last time I lifted my horse's tail up.
Yeah, worlds ahead of what Fable did with its greeting system, I guess.
but Smud, what's wrong with bumping in someone's general direction? That's a wonderful way to greet someone on Fable 2.
Oh, yeah. Let's
Or
play-
how you can get a woman to sleep with you by just like going na.
For a horse?
playing patty cake
Oh,
for,
sorry, that's
for 10
Winter.
seconds or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, you could play patty cake with someone for like, I remember you could play patty cake with someone like 6 times and then they'd sleep with you and then they'd have a baby.
What?
Man, I had so many children on that game. It was unbelievable.
Fable's
I was a complete man whore.
It's one of
I'm gonna
those
do that when I'm at
experiences-
work tomorrow.
Yeah, you're not sure what the creators were trying to do, and they just reduced everything. Just have good or bad interactions. You're like, what the? Okay.
It was a Fable 2 is an amazing game for how ridiculous it is. It's just I wish I could find my copy out because it's one of those games which is just like the story is non-existent. It is literally just you messing around
And growing
Constantly.
horns or whatever.
Yeah. and then getting like there is one like side quest where you can get blackmailed if you have too many wives. It's like what the actual fuck? It's like you're married to someone in Bandertown, and you're like yes, but this other person knows that you're married to this other person. And it's like I don't really care. So you can either pay the blackmailer or kill him. It's like well, I'm an amazing hero. I guess I'll just have to kill him.
While you buy real estate and have a
Yeah.
dog, and you're like, what? What is going on? What is the point of this?
I still can't Fable 2 was really good. Fable 3, I can't believe how to win Fable 3 is buy loads of houses.
Yeah, the way you win is you own everything, and then when you've accumulated enough rent, then go past the game, because that's the entire ending is like we don't have enough money to do this. Can you do it? Yes.
Yeah.
That's the whole ending.
I honestly, when that happened, I switched the game off. I was like, I'm not playing the fucking property ladder. You know, in a game where I can have a flaming sword, it's
All right.
just so ridiculous.
Here is Great Scott for the $3 donation. Thank you, sir. It is issues I can also overlook. And I do think Rockstar learned their lesson by setting up the Calendar Brothers. If they really want to go further back with the Vanderlyn gang, personally, I prefer it if they do something else altogether.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who think that Red Dead 3 will be the Calendar Brothers, and you'll play up until the Blackwater Massacre. I think that's a terrible idea. I think the best idea if there is a Red Dead 3 is set it earlier, but do it with people who aren't connected to Red Dead 1 or 2. Make it a completely new cast of characters. Because I think the story of the Vanderlyn gang is done and dusted. There's not much more you can do apart from tell them about when they first set up, but you don't really need to see that. You know, you don't need to see Arthur as a 15-year-old lad running around with But you know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like it's.
I'd be interested in seeing more of Jack, but I just don't know where the hell you would go with that.
See, that's too far. I mean, you that like the section with Jack is set in 1914. I mean, you've got going on, and it just becomes a non-West. That's what I mean. You're gonna have to keep going backwards.
Yeah.
Keep it separate from
separate from the Van der Linde gang, because we know what happens to the Calendar brothers. They both die. And if you take it up to the Blackwater Massacre, what does the game end there? Or do you know what I mean?
Do you play Arthur again in the epilogue?
You play Arthur in the epilogue in Coulter on, just.
Oh my god! Member berries, no.
But I think the best thing to do is someone else, someone completely different. And the thing is,
For sure.
you don't even have to make it Red Dead Redemption. You can cut Red Dead something else. You know what I mean? Because they've got Red Dead Revolver, haven't they? That was a game they made.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, wasn't it some what was it, China or Asia, that some studio that was doing the game, and then Rockstar bought it off, and then they changed it a little bit. Isn't that the story?
Yeah. I can't remember. It was so long ago, and I was but a wee little lad back in those days.
You don't remember Red Harlow?
I remember Red Harlow, yeah, but I just don't remember the political intricacies behind the scenes of stuff since I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
All right, so let's actually address the video because it's been just staring at us all this time.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Where do you want to start with this thing?
Is there a section called plot armor? I mean timestamp. Sorry.
I don't know. Is there?
Eric, why didn't you write down what the timestamp was?
Plot
Well,
armor?
no, he has it on his description.
Yeah, it's
so
at
I thought
1707. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
All right, here we go.
John. Killed? Arrested. I couldn't help. Well, we better go. We'll be next. And me, John Marston. Right now.
Now, this was actually a large part of why I was taken out of the story. John is such an important part to the overall Red Dead Redemption storyline, as he plays a central role in this game, and is of course the main protagonist of the first game. Arguably, John is the most important character to get right. If they mess up some lore, or change his character in a big way during this game, that could have led to further complications that might have harmed John's character and the story in Red Dead Redemption 1. Now, does the second game suffer in that aspect?
Just trying to help my family, Dutch. By making compromises, we all have to.
I'm begging you. Please!
Let's go kill this son of a bitch then.
Well, I mean, I guess there's something to be said about trying. Regardless, let's get back on track. Let's take a look at the finale to Chapter 4, Banking, the Old American Art, where the gang decides to rob the Saint Denis Bank. Now, we know that...
Okay, I'm going to just jump in there. That's... Okay, right. So, in one scene, it's 1911, John, after his family's been kidnapped by the Bureau of Investigation, and he's been forced to hunt down his old gang members. So he's not really, in any position to do anything, and he knows that. So he's just trying to save his family. In the other scene, he's chasing, goes, let's go kill that son of a bitch, which is Micah. That's 1907, and he's got the chance to get revenge on Micah for killing Arthur and destroying the gang. And, yeah, so he's going to go after him.
Yeah, I mean, it's an earlier John, like,
yeah.
I don't know, he hasn't learned his lesson yet, so...
Yeah, but also it's a bit like... Go on, Eric.
No, I was just going to say, I think we'll get into that further once we get to... in the video, sorry.
Yeah, but I just wanted to point that out. It's a bit like the epilogue of Red Dead 2 is John getting to the point where he is in Red Dead Redemption. That's the point of the epilogue.
Yeah.
John's really young in, he's 38 in Red Dead Redemption. Obviously, he's 33, 34 in the epilogue, but he's only 25, 26 in the main story of Red Dead Redemption 2. So yeah, there's like a lot of growth in between those two ages. And the thing is, it's like after he kills Micah, he hangs up his guns, and he doesn't do anything until he's like dragged back in by the Bureau of Investigation in Red Dead Redemption. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on the video, but yeah.
The job goes sideways, and Agent Milton arrives with a small army of Pinkertons to try and finally kill Dutch and the crew. During his shocking appearance, Dutch tries to plead with Milton for Hosea to be let go, to be shown mercy. Otherwise, hostages inside the bank are going to be killed. However, Hosea has been taken hostage himself at the hands of Milton, and to fully prove the point to Dutch that no mercy will be shown, he kills Hosea in cold blood right in front of Dutch to instantly put down any ideas of Dutch and the gang making a deal to escape the situation.
Dutch, get out here! Mr. Milton, let my friend go, or folks, they are gonna get shot unnecessarily.
Your friend? Why would I do that?
Come on, Milton.
It's over. No more bargains, no more deals.
Come on! No!
There's your deal, Dutch.
This lack of mercy shown towards Hosea at the hands of Milton sets the stakes for this mission incredibly well. There's no getting out of this fight through diplomacy. The gang will not be spared. Milton wants to end it here and now. He and his men are shooting to kill. This is actually great writing and will do two things. One, make us fear for our protagonists' lives. And two, make us fear the villains, as we know they have the power and ability to kill the characters we love. There will be no mercy. Dutch asked for mercy, and Milton denied it by killing Hosea. If Milton killed an unarmed, defenceless man, just to prove a point to Dutch that he wasn't going to accept his plea for mercy, there is absolutely no hope for our characters if they get caught. The stakes have been set, our characters are in danger. If they get caught, they will die. This is the primary reason why there is so much tension in this mission, and why we fear for our character's safety. This is why Milton is such a great villain too. This is what makes him powerful within the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. And a great antagonist. He's a true threat to our characters because we know he can and will kill them if given the chance. So with that being said, the events of the mission unfold and the shootout begins. Arthur, John, Dutch, Micah and the rest fire back. They blow a hole in the side of the bank, and Arthur leads, climbing the fire escape on the adjacent building, and is soon followed by Dutch. And this is where our issue arises. John is nowhere to be seen. That's pretty odd. Arthur asks where John is, and Dutch tells him something quite peculiar. John was arrested. Yeah, that's correct. John wasn't killed. He wasn't shot. He was arrested.
Okay, sorry. This guy says the same thing in like 3 different ways. I get it. So I wanted to ask what you thought of that. It is kind of weird that they are shooting to kill, yet John is arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the whole big reason is because, well, and I think this guy's going to talk about it, which is the fact that John can't swim. Which
right.
I think in hindsight, maybe.
Yeah, with the yeah. With me, it's more. I just see it as. It's not the fact that. I always see it as Dutch saying he got arrested more as a lie, because I think at that point Dutch is starting to not like John. So he's obviously seen John get shot, and instead of just saying, "Oh, I left him to die," I'm thinking it's more he's just saying, "Oh yeah, he got arrested. There was nothing I could do." That's how I see it, is with stuff. And the thing is with Milton, if he thinks he can get information from someone, he's gonna keep the person alive, like he did earlier in the story with was it Mac Callender, even though he killed him later on.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So it's, and at that point, he tries to keep Matt Callender alive after the Blackwater massacre. And that's an equally as horrific bank robbery, well, ferry robbery. So I get where people are coming from with this. It does seem, like it's got just plot armor, but it's also one of those where you can also see reasons why it was done. But yeah.
Well, it's also off-screen plot armor. Just like, oh yeah, we didn't kill him, we just captured him. There could be many reasons why that is. If they don't bring it up later in the story, then that would be kind of weird. But is it essential to the plot?
Yeah, it's one of those things where he gets arrested, and then obviously they get back from the little shipwreck in Guam, and they're talking of like the news they get is they're going to hang John. So it's not like he's going to be, you know, kept alive and, you know, given a proper trial and everything. He's just going to get hung. So that's why it takes Arthur and Sadie to rescue him. But with this one, it's more the fact that it's Dutch abandoning John for the first time. That's what it's meant to be like. Dutch just leaves him. There's a bit earlier where John goes, "Yeah, I got shot," and Dutch saw it, and he just left me. Do you know what I mean?
thought he just said he just left him. I didn't know if he was shot. Was he shot in Saint Denis robbery, or?
I think he got shot in the Saint Denis robbery or something. But well, I could be wrong with that. But I know the line is Dutch saw me, and he didn't do anything to help me. And it's meant to be that fracturing of the relationship between Dutch and Arthur and John. So
my question would be like, do you think we should have seen that perhaps rather than just talk about it off screen and just? I mean, I get the whole point of like, well, if you have the information conveyed, there wouldn't be any confusion, but it's left up to speculation whether. I don't know what speculation, but that Dutch just is leaving his men behind, and that he's just only out for himself.
That's true. Oh, by the way, to Black Romeo in the chat, the Greys killed Sean, not Mac. The Pinkertons killed Mac. Mac Callender was killed before the story starts. And, Sean was killed by the Greys. That's what you're thinking of. But back to the plot armor. It's a bit like, well, we know John can't die in the story because he's the main character. So I get that. So he's gonna, going into it that he's gonna be safe. The main thing is you're wondering what it is that breaks up the gang. And John always says it was he got shot and left after a robbery, and he mentions the Blackwater robbery and stuff. And so when you actually find out what happened, you find out that it's not just one incident, it's like a series of incidents over a short period of time that did it. But yeah, I can see where he's coming from, the fact that they killed Hosea, but Hosea is also like the second in command of the Vandalin gang. There's a difference between him and another member. It's a complicated one. It's one where I think Rockstar could have done a lot better, but also like Eric pointed out, the shipwreck means that John would have died on the boat, but he can't swim, and you need the characters who can swim to survive.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that, and I don't know, maybe I'll mention it now, because in the first Red Dead, yeah, John can't swim. The thing was, I think it was just a restriction, because they didn't want you to explore Mexico, and they don't. Well, I don't think it was a limitation. I think that was what's the word I'm looking for? It's on purpose. They wanted to limit your exploration because they didn't want you to go into Mexico or West Elizabeth or
yeah.
And I don't know. In hindsight, it's weird that they would make it canon that John just never learned in 38 years how to swim.
Eric, my granddad don't know how to swim, and he's 83 years old. So I just see it as like, oh, okay.
All right,
But is it hard? I don't know.
All right, here's Great Scott again. Sorry to detract from Eric and Hawk. What do you guys think about the old woman in Guarma? Personally, I think Dutch was right that they were going to sell them out, but he did also leave the gold on her body, which still confuses me.
With that one, he was right in the fact that she was going to sell them out because that's the way that these people work. But also, him leaving the gold shows that he's not interested anymore in money, and he's not interested in the plan of one more score and that's it. It's a subtle hint that It's never been about getting money. It's always been about the thrill of being an outlaw. So he was never going to stop being an outlaw. So I think that's what I see with Guarma, and I think Guarma is a real good way of showing how Dutch changes. And it's like Guarma is a very a mask falling off moment. So, yeah.
Just continue with the video, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, continue the video, yeah. I didn't know if I wanted to add anything else, but,
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Contradicts the whole thing about Milton not showing mercy anymore, doesn't it? I mean, perhaps I was mistaken in believing that Milton wasn't going to show mercy when he literally kills a defenseless member of the gang in response to, Dutch asking for mercy. Maybe that bullet that went through Hosea was a nice friendly mercy bullet to show that he actually will spare people conditionally. Maybe that was the point of that scene all along. Maybe Hosea's lifeless corpse was intended as a sign by the writers that Milton is trying to be nice after all. In all seriousness, Hosea was killed and wasn't arrested. Lenny was killed and wasn't arrested. Hell, the Pinkertons even shoot and kill Arthur, even if you put your weapons away and walk out to allow yourself to be captured, like John would have had to do. The promise made with Hosea's death is that the Pinkertons were shooting to kill, and nobody was safe, not even the most defenseless, harmless member of the gang. Yet, for some reason, John was spared where any other character would have, and was shown to be gunned down and killed. The stakes are now broken. The tension is gone. We stop fearing for our character's safety. We were led to believe that Milton is a serious and very dangerous threat to all of our characters' lives, and that given the chance, at least in this mission, he will kill them once and for all. Yet, when it matters most, when John is supposedly put in a situation where Milton should kill him, he simply doesn't, and the tension and the threat the writers have quite honestly expertly crafted for Milton as a villain gets thrown away. Hosea was literally unarmed, and Milton even killed him to prove to Dutch he wasn't going to spare the gang. Yet, they spared John, someone who was an actual, genuine threat for some reason. What incredible writing.
You lost John. Killed? Arrested?
However, one caveat to all of this is that this mistake, this glaring writing error, could have very easily been fixed with one simple thing. All they had to do, or what they should have attempted at the very, very least, was show an explanation as to why John was the exception to Milton's lack of mercy. We need to see why Milton spared John when he made it explicit nobody in the gang was going to be spared. If we know the circumstances as to why John was arrested, as to why he was spared, maybe we will be able to understand why Milton killed Hosea, an unarmed man, and spared John, someone who was actively shooting and trying to kill him. So did the writers do this? Did they give this vital explanation? Did they decide to fix this error? Did they decide to show why Milton spared John? No. John kind of just got arrested. He got arrested off screen. Yeah, he got arrested off screen. Remind me again why Red Dead Redemption 2 is heralded as one of the best stories in gaming. I mean, you do realize...
Well, I mean, just because there was a minor flaw, if you perceive it as that, doesn't mean it tracks the whole story at hand, which is Arthur Morgan, his ultimate journey.
Yeah, don't you eventually catch up with Arthur? Or, sorry, not Arthur, the protagonist of the first game?
John?
Oh, yeah, John, yeah, well, yeah, you break him out of jail, so he comes back.
Okay, so does he know why he's in jail? Does he know why they didn't kill him? Was there any sort of talk of that?
No, he doesn't know why. All he knows was that they were talking about hanging him in a public hanging, and then obviously Dutch isn't going to go and rescue him and just let John be hung, and it's up to Arthur to save him, which like I've said, starts the breakdown of the relationship between Dutch and Arthur and John.
Okay, so
Well, we don't even know why they wanted to publicly hang.
right, but if you're a member of a, I guess they're not the military, but they're like a federal bureau of some sort of law-abiding group. They want to make
part of a government.
Yeah, they want to make an example,
make an example
to the citizenry, saying, "Hey, this is wrong." So he's going to die regardless. It's just how they have. Hey, we're in control now. Let's just make this better than just killing a dude or dudes. We're going to show off to people. And if they just showcase that, even in a small amount, like they wanted to make an example of me, they wanted to show to the world or show this to...
But I don't think John had a big reputation. Like they didn't even know his name. Like I don't know. Like was he a known entity of like the Vanderlyn gang?
Yeah, he was because he's Dutch's second son, and he's been with them for I think at this point. He was I think John's been with the gang for 15 years at this point. Because Arthur's been with him for over 20 years and everything. So John has got, a reputation and everything. It's just the fact that compared to Arthur, Dutch, and Hosea, the main three, he's not as big, but he's still like the fourth biggest one.
Oh, okay. No. That might be the reason. I don't know.
And also, you have to remember that at this point, most of the gangs got away from the bank when John gets arrested. So it might have literally been a bit of a keep him alive. We might need to know where they're going to run to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they could have. They could have given some exposition on, like even a throwaway line would have been fine. That they wanted me for information, and then they would have killed me later, or anything along those lines, just to explain why he didn't die. When they may have said, "Oh, they thought there were more of us, so they wanted me for questioning." All kinds of little things like that would have been fine, and that would have sufficed. Because if you have an NPC running around, I guess the other guys on the team also are NPCs running around that wouldn't die as well. Like, does John have to be part of everything? No, he doesn't.
He's barely part of anything in Red Dead 2. Like, it really is Arthur's story, and John doesn't really come to the forefront until, obviously, this mission, and then near the end of chapter 6, and then the epilogue, because you play as John. But the thing with it is, it's more the fact that you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes with the Pinkertons because your character doesn't really see anything, and John just hears a few things and he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
it's the scene's more to show that Dutch just leaves. You hear Dutch's side and you think, oh, there's nothing he can do. Then you hear John's side later on, and it's like, oh, hang on a second, there's more that Dutch could have done.
Yeah, so we don't know the overall motives. Like, we know the obvious motives, like shoot to kill, but we don't know the overall motives of the opposition. This is not so much a glaring problem. It's a minor plot hole. It's something that the villains have their own goals that don't seem to match up. And if you have the villains doing things contrary to their plot throughout the story, like they're greedy when they say they're virtuous, or they play around with people before they kill them, and sometimes they don't kill them at all, like stuff like that.
The thing, yeah, because later on in the story, Leviticus Cornwall, who's like the big oil magnate, who's like funding the Pinkertons,
right?
Wants him to do more to stop the Vanderlyn gang, and Agent Milton's literally like, we're doing all we can within the letter of the law. So he still has to follow some sort of, there's still some sort of law that he's got to follow. It's not like he can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So even if John is on the register of part of a gang, is he trying to kill anyone? Is he doing anything wrong? Then no. He's like, okay, stop, sir. Are you part of this gang?
Yeah.
Yes. Leave me alone. Like that like even a throwaway line, like that's just for the audience. That's not for the story. That's what it's like, to connect the dots.
Yeah, because the thing is as well, like the Pinkertons have kept Mac alive. They also kept Sean alive because he was captured and was going to be sent upstate to be hung as well in an early chapter 2 mission. And Sean's only been in the gang for I think it was 3 years at this point. So Sean's a lot newer than Mac and even Mac and John, and yet he wasn't killed straight out. I think the only reason Hosea was killed, from Milton's point of view, is it is the biggest show of force he can do. Like, if I kill Hosea, it shows Dutch I'm not messing around and this is really the end, as in like he should surrender and give up to the law, because he's going to die.
And just to add on to that, he has tried to reason with them, especially back in Rhodes, the camp near Rhodes. He wanted to make a deal. Just, I want you, Dutch. I can forget everybody else. You're the prime target that I want.
Yeah, just you, only you. So,
and he wouldn't comply, and now here we are, Saint Denis robbery, and it's like, all right, I've warned you before. Bye, Hosea.
Yeah. I think it's more. I think it's like if John had been the one in Hosea's position, I don't think he would have been shot. I don't think he'd even been brought out, as in that he'd just been captured and that'd be it. But because it's Hosea, it's the second in command of the Vanderlyn gang. It's more of a statement for Milton shooting Hosea. So I think that's what it is. But I can always be wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Bottom line is maybe it could have been better or had some sort of exposition.
Better, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So do you want to keep going with this point, or do you want to go to somewhere else?
Eric, it's up to you. You've actually watched the video.
I know. I wish I wasn't on a mobile, and then I would fast forward. Fast forward like 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
All right, here we are.
Okay, is that all right? Okay.
Sure, yeah. Let's just see. I know he keeps rambling on about the same point. It's like, okay, we get it, dude.
His own character arc, given how Arthur went against Dutch's wishes to rescue John from the prison, and not to mention John's own role in the story, of course. He can't partake in the plot if he has been, written out of it. We need to see why he was made in the...
I kind of find it funny how all these bullets are tracer rounds. Just have this smoke stuff.
Exception to this rule. Without that...
Yeah, all that black smoke is just getting in the way.
Explanation. Be sure the writers won't simply arrest a character off screen again. Perhaps when a character is about to die next time, the writers will just cut away and have a character explain they got arrested off screen, saving them from a certain death. The tension built for the Pinkertons is ruined. Milton and his Pinkertons don't act in a logical, sensical, consistent manner that should be expected of them as well-written, three-dimensional characters. As with Micah earlier...
Well, they are logical. They're stopping the Vanderlei gang. The method, he's saying, well, they should be violent completely. It's like, well, you don't know that. You don't know their methods. You don't know exactly what their plan is, aside from stopping a gang. And to stop a gang, you have to find out where they all are. And that just doesn't mean you just kill everyone you see. You have to get information. You have to talk to people. Mm-hmm. So it's not impossible. It's just not as clear as it should be, because the audience knows John can't die. So that's a problem with the narrative, because it's a prequel. That's the only issue. Everything else, if there was no Red Dead Redemption 1, you'd be like, this is fine. This is totally cool.
If Red Dead was written before, this Red Dead Redemption 2 was before Red Dead Redemption, John could easily have died in this scene. It is because he can't die, but they give enough reasons why he gets captured, and it's another layer. Like I keep saying, by this point of the story, by this point, Red Dead Redemption 2 story is about the collapse of the Van der Linde gang. And what's more of a collapse, Dutch, like, almost leaving his favoured son, and doing nothing to help him. So it's part of, like, the growing distrust between, Dutch and his two sons, Arthur and John. So.
Characters, what defines them in the story, and if those motives aren't the character's actions, and the actions contradict one another, the character as a result is poorly written, they're inconsistent, they're one-dimensional, the goals are vague, and we question what they even want in the story, and what threat they pose to our characters. A good villain shouldn't have...
They're the Pinkertons, right? They want to stop...
Yeah. They're being paid. They're being paid to stop the Van der Linde gang.
Yeah.
But trying to stop the Van der Linde gang, it's simple.
Yeah.
They want to enforce law.
There's nothing wrong with having a one-dimensional villain for the sake of them being a villain. That's fine. I want to stop the bad guys, or I want to stop the good guys or the heroes for reason X, and you're like, sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing. It's like having a thief in a story, and you want to get the thing. The thief also wants the thing, and you don't know why. Mm-hmm. But if you want the thing, you know why the main character wants it. So you could assume this is a valuable thing. The thief has a similar reason: money, fame, what? Like, just make up any excuse if you want it spelled out. It doesn't really matter if you understand the value. If you already understand the value of the thing, like in this case, we're talking about the lives of a gang you've gotten to know, and why do they want to stop them? They're villains. They are criminals. It makes sense. It's not the best meaning, but I think the Pinkertons historically were not the most law-abiding.
They were villains.
Yeah, they were mercenaries essentially.
Yeah.
So
it got so bad that even the U.S. government wrote it into law that they couldn't be hired by the U.S. government.
Oh, really? Okay. Well.
Yeah, the U.S. government distanced itself from them because they were that bad.
Yeah. So that is if you know, even like the audience knows the basic history of what's going on, you don't need to spell that out in complete detail, because even I knew about the Pinkertons from history, that they weren't the nicest group in the West. So yeah, shoot to kill, do nefarious things, probably torture, who knows, all kinds of nasty stuff.
They do torture, as it's mentioned numerous times about certain gang members who got captured and tortured.
Yeah.
Even Strauss, who was just a moneylender and not even like a gunman or anything like that, an old Austrian bloke, got tortured to death by the Pinkertons.
Yeah, so they are chaotic evil or lawful evil, I guess you could say. That
they're the good guys because they just so happen to they oppose the Van der Linde gang, but they're only good guys because they're being paid by people to uphold the law. Right.
They're not like straight from Washington. They're not like we're the best of the law-abiding policemen of the land. It's like, no, the federal government hired you to go get rid of a problem. And you have the guile and the wits and the means to be meaner to get rid of these guys who are a problem. That's it. That's what these guys are. They're guns for hire, and they're not the nicest bunch. So
yeah. Oh,
well. It showed that it's still like in Red Dead 1 because Agent Ross, right? That's his name.
Yeah, Edgar Ross. Yeah,
he's still a remnant of the Pinkerton. So it's like, yeah, he captures John's family, and just so that he can force John to do whatever he's done, just eliminate, the remaining.
That's actually quite interesting, because the only reason Red Dead Redemption story actually kicks off is because a senator said he's going to clean up crime and tasks Edgar Ross to do it, and Edgar Ross is just like, I'll just get John Marston to shoot up his old gang members and then take the credit. And that's literally it. But
betray the man that did all the work.
The thing is, it's like what they're trying to say that both sides were equally as bad. It's just that you had to do what you had to do in these time periods, and there's no real good guys. Everyone's a bit of a bad guy, even the people with the badges. So
yeah. So this sort of problem, I think it's a minor plot hole. It's not the end of the world. And
I wouldn't even call it a plot hole. It's more of a plot smudge. It's more of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with the story.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's something where, no offense, if Rockstar had just said, "Oh, we're going to Mexico" instead of a Caribbean island, could have been solved. But because, like Eric said earlier, they're going to a Caribbean island with a shipwreck, they couldn't have John because he can't swim. So they sort of wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Have any of these flaws. Yet, Milton, through his contradictory actions, exhibits every single one. However, to address exactly why having John arrested off-screen is bad writing in terms of the actual writing craft, we need to get a little bit technical. In writing, there is a concept called off-screen inertia. I can almost guarantee...
Actually, hold on, I've just realised something. He's trying to say that the Pinkertons are trying to kill everyone. When Charles distracts them, they don't shoot to kill. They chase after him and try and capture him.
Yeah.
I've just realised that. So they're not actually trying to shoot to kill all of them.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to kill. Was it Butch? Hutch? What's his name?
What, Dutch?
Dutch. Sorry, Dutch and his
Butch,
team.
Butch Hutch.
Butch Dutch. I was thinking of the name. I was like, what was it called again? And there was like a bunch of people with him, and that's directly they're addressing him like directly in this standoff, saying, "Listen, you got to come with us now. We're going to start killing your friends." And
it's not like they've gone Dutch, Arthur, Micah, Lenny, John, Charles, Javier, and Bill, and whoever else might be in there. Just let you know. We just go. It's just Dutch. That's really who they're after, and then obviously Hosea is the second.
Right. So they're all trying to stop the gang, and they realize that they're up against a bunch of other guys with guns, whereas John was probably captured alone. And it's like, oh well, he's not a threat, so we can't just murder a guy. We got to, we'll have this mock trial where, or pretty much a mock assassin, mock murder. I don't know what you want to call that. A banana
execution.
Court? Yeah, an execution.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna pretty much have a public hanging, and it's like, what did he do? He was part of a group. What did he do? Like, would he do anything wrong? So yeah, they're just trying to make an example. Like, these things are not hard to address, and because it wasn't spelled out to this guy, it's like, whoa, this is horrible writing. It's like, dude, come on now.
What?
And now he's doing. This is a strange trope. I don't know why he's bringing this up, but let's see what he has to say.
Off-screen inertia.
Yeah.
You're familiar with this in some form, or at least you can feel it when it's not properly implemented into a story, but you may not actually know the technical term behind it. What this means in layman's terms is that as long as there is nothing in a scene to suggest otherwise, the audience will never really be sure that a character ever stops doing the last thing they were actually seen doing. If we are shown John shooting at the Pinkertons with the gang in relative safety, and if we have scenes without John before we reach the next scene with him in it, whether in person or simply being referenced, we as the audience should be safe to assume John was doing the last thing we saw him doing. This is basically just Glory 101.
No, sir. The narrative says he was captured. Therefore, he's not doing anything. He's captured.
Yeah, he's just spending time in black and white striped clothing with handcuffs.
What was he doing? Like, what was he doing prior to that? Before he was captured in this story? Like, what was?
He was holding a gun in a bank. That was literally it.
Well, yeah. He's shooting, and then you blow up a wall. You climb up the ladder, and that's the last thing.
Okay, so he was in a
we
bank.
We don't know.
So
just know he was
clearly
shooting.
he's not hanging up, or he's not attacking another bank. He's not repeating because I could do
the exact same bank. robbing it while everyone else is going off on something else.
Yeah, if he was like running a race or traveling, and then you see him like an hour later in the story, it's like, oh, he's at his destination or he's still traveling. Like that's what this is about. It's not, hey, off screen, this character shot up into the sky. Well, I guess he's no longer traveling on the ground now, is he? But we can assume he's traveling on the ground because that's the last time we saw him. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, the thing is, we've been told that he's been arrested, and when the gang return from Guam, it's spelled out. Yeah, he's arrested and he's held in this prison, the Sisika Penitentiary, and it's like, right, so he is there, so he has been arrested, right? So everything that we've been told is correct. The only thing is what we got told is there's nothing Dutch could do, when in reality I think there's something that Dutch could have done. So
yeah, and the story is not about John at this point. It's just enough to say what happened to John. Oh, he got arrested. That's well within the purview of the villains to do. It's not unheard of. You know,
it's been done before.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, this is something they do, and this is one example of that. And that's like, okay, sure, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Could it be clearer for the audience who knows Red Dead 1, where John lives? Sure, but it's not particularly relevant, and that's why I call it a plot hole, because to him, shoot on sight. That's what the villains do. If that's all you know of the villains. But as you said, they also capture people. So it's like, okay, then if that's the case, they can shoot on sight, they can capture people, they can do other things between those. Like, shooting on sight is pretty extreme. Between that, there's like, talk to them, break their legs, have their family blackmailed.
Well, that was another thing. It's like, well, they have hostages, so I'm like, why would they just shoot? Like, I don't know, the innocent people could get killed.
It's one of those things where I always like to make a difference, because shoot on sight isn't kill on sight, because that's actually a separate order that people have to do.
Right.
In regards to
you can beat them and injure them.
Yeah.
So.
In regards to the shootout, though, I think they're pretty much out to kill everyone involved when you're playing the game. So
yeah,
that's what shootouts generally are. But yeah, they could have shot him and disabled him or whatever. There's all kinds of things they could have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not. I would have to. I would have to go into this trope and pick it apart, because that doesn't seem like a proper application.
Tells me now, his reason for this now just seems to be a bit of nitpicky, and we've sort of answered his problems.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, we've done it. So is there another thing we can
Oh yeah, if you want to fast forward to John's character, I mean.
Yeah. What's the time?
Yeah. It's on the video. I can't see it.
You're really good at this, Eric. Honestly.
All right, here we go.
Right.
Yeah, he dug himself really deep with that opinion, and he's like trying to justify it. I'm like, dude, this is writing 101. It's like, is it really?
Writing 101 is knowing how to spell words. So anyway,
trying to get this thing to start, but there we go.
Okay.
Having a bit of plot armor.
Right.
I'm begging you. No! You risk all this? For what? For Micah?
This is arguably one of the worst things about this game's story. Not only does it ruin John's character arc in this game, it ruins John in the first game too. Or, at the very least, leaves him as a contradictory, inconsistent mess of a character.
Oh boy, that's quite a statement. I can't wait to hear.
No? What the fuck?
Yeah, it ruins the first game, or at best makes it a contradiction. Okay.
How did he contradict anything?
We'll find out.
Oh my god.
What we need are the heavily contradictory themes, motivations, and actions from John during the epilogue, and how it absolutely destroys John as the character we understood him to be in Red Dead Redemption 1. We first need to examine what John's character is like in Red Dead Redemption 1. John is forced back into his old life as Edgar Ross and the government kidnap his family and use them to blackmail John to hunting down his old gang members once and for all. John, however, only wants to live a peaceful life with his family, free from his previous violent lifestyle, but he has to pursue this dangerous task to ensure the safety of his family. This is what makes John such a compelling character. We may see him do bad things, and we know he has a violent, terrible past, but in this game, he acts in such a way that clearly shows he is noble. He is only trying to protect his family. This is a large reason why we fell in love with John's character in the first game, because he has a noble motivation, despite the questionable things he does. No matter what bad actions he may perform, we can all empathise with his motives. This is what, quite honestly, makes him one of the best written anti-heroes in gaming. Now, this is where the epilogue in Red Dead Redemption 2 is extremely important. John, throughout the entirety of the main game, right up until the end of Chapter 6 and the first half of the epilogue, is a rash, selfish and quite arrogant person, and throughout his arc, he is meant to grow into the character we see him in Red Dead Redemption 1. Ultimately, whilst he loves his family, he still can't exactly let go of his old lifestyle. His arc in the epilogue, as a result, is going to be about John having to let go of his old lifestyle, fully settle down with his family, and become the man in Red Dead Redemption 1 who puts his family first, no matter what. But, of course, he needs to get to that point first, so after the main game ends, treated to a rather lengthy epilogue where John and his family take centre stage. Initially, he tries to settle down in the Geddes ranch, working as a farmhand. However, the tasks are mundane, and John struggles to fit into this peaceful lifestyle. He still can't let go of the man he used to be, and he...
No, he can. In fact, he does it really fucking well. In fact, he's really good as a ranch hand, and he really tries. It's literally the only reason anything happens is because there's a gang of people who want to burn down the ranch that he was working on.
Yeah, but he's gonna. We're gonna get to Abigail. She's the one that's saying he can't change, and of course, there's past experiences that we don't see, where apparently he was going back to his old lifestyle.
Yeah, okay, right. But what we see in the story of when he's on Pronghorn Ranch, is he stops and literally tries to become like, he really does try. The problem is the first time there's a problem, it's because his wagon gets stolen and he steals it back. Oh no, that's wrong. He's back to being an outlaw. It's like, no, he's not. He's getting his wagon. Well, not even his wagon. Well, yeah, it's his wagon back with all provisions. The next problem is one of his co-workers are getting attacked by the Laramie gang, and he comes in and defends them. Then the Laramie gang attacks the ranch, kills one of his co-workers, starts trying to burn down the ranch and steals his cattle. So his boss asks him to get the cattle back because he knows John's quite handy. That's not John going back into his old ways. That's like John being caught up in the middle of like something he can't control. He can't control the fact that the place he's working at has these problems.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's trying to settle down and get away from stuff. The problem with the epilogue is it tries to... I know what it's trying to do, but it doesn't know how to do it. So...
Of John struggling to be...
Yeah.
Or I guess John struggling with moving on, right?
Yeah. So he tries really... He does try, and like... Then the next scenes where Abigail... Even knowing that they should be using false names, Abigail orders something in John's real name. So it's Abigail's fault, but everyone overlooks it because everyone's just a simp for Abigail for some reason, because I assume she has boobs. And
oh, I mean, come on.
And then
reason enough.
Yeah, but then he gets John gets chased by 3 people who want revenge for something John did years ago. So John has to kill these 3 people, otherwise Jack is in trouble as well, because Jack's with him. And he gets moaned at for bringing violence. It's like, well, it's not, you know...
I think even Jack was like giving him shit too.
Yeah, it's a bit like
It was weird.
So
I
there's
don't
then Abigail leaves him, and John, on his own, bear in mind, heartbroken and everything, carries on just being a ranch hand and works hard to save money to buy land that Abigail wanted, and then builds a house and works on the farm and everything like that, and doesn't go back to being.
But Hawke, he's a bounty hunter.
Oh no, he's a bounty hunter with legal bounties because he needs money to pay off a bank loan because people need money. It's crazy, that is. But he's not going out murdering people.
I think we've talked about this before, where it's like I think Abigail's just afraid of John killed. I guess that she just is crazy about everything John does. Like if he puts his life at risk, it's like he just gets mad at him just because she doesn't want him.
Yeah. It's not even putting his life at risk. Like the bloke can't even take his son fishing. You know what I mean? It's like there's always something wrong. Abigail's not happy. It's like even in the first Red Dead, the first thing she goes up to him and goes, "Oh, I thought you were going to join Bill." It's like, why would he join Bill? Why? Why would he join Dutch again after 12 years? And like he's been told by the Bureau, like, if you don't work for us, we're going to kill your family. Yeah, okay, I'm going to join Dutch. Why would she say that? It's just, I think Abigail is the stereotypical. She loves her husband, but he can't do anything right in her eyes. As in, he will always be wrong, no matter how right he is.
So,
she's a woman.
In regards to the ending or the last part of Red Dead Redemption 2, where you play as John, his problem is that he's destroying his character by
becoming his character in Red. He's destroying his character
we'll
because
find out.
He becomes his character. Well, John grows into being his character. That's it.
No, but we'll get to his quote unquote. We'll get to his quote unquote argument of why it defeats everything. I guess.
All right.
And he can't accept that he needs to change. He's far too prideful to give his family the life they deserve. Abigail talks of a repeated pattern in John's behaviour. Instead of settling down, instead of properly living...
Sorry, but I can't take him seriously when he's being mauled to death by a fucking dog. Why make this argument while you're playing really badly? You have teats he has teats as well. Anyway, sorry. That's just...
He's quirky. I mean...
Mauled to death by a dog?
Keeps reverting back to the man he used to be. The man who'd put his pride in what he used to be before his family.
Every time we about to get somewhere, make something, you go and show the entire world that you ain't Jimmy Milton. Every place we've been, it's been the same. We start doing okay and then boom, you act like the big man with the gun.
However, despite this, Abigail dreams...
Yeah, because John at this point he's still good. He's a good man, and so he likes protecting others and doing good for others. Which is why, he helps out the strangers in Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I mean, those were ideals that were kind of placed by Dutch before he went crazy, so kind of ingrained.
Shoot people who need... What was it? It's shoot people who need shooting, rob people who need robbing, but feed people who need feeding, and stuff. So he's got that sort of, mentality anyway. And the thing is, it's like, from what we're shown in the game, in the story, he doesn't do anything because he enjoys doing it. He does things because he's either been A, told to do it, or B, he thinks it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't go to Hanging Dog Ranch and steal the cattle back for Mr. Geddes because he enjoys doing it, but he knows it's the right thing to do to keep his job, and also because his boss, Mr. Geddes, has asked him to do it. Bear in mind that also, by doing that, Mr. Geddes helps him get a bank loan to give this stupid bitch the land that she wanted to buy a ranch.
Yep.
So it's kind of like everything that John does like works out for them. But Abigail at this point, like you say, Eric, it just feels like everything she wants John to be walked over. She wants John to protect the family, but do nothing when anything threatens the family.
Yeah,
That's how the character comes across and how it's written. And I do think the epilogue is a really poorly written, in regards to what they're trying to get across with the John and Abigail thing. Abigail, like in chapter 1 to 6, Abigail makes a lot of sense. She's right, but by the epilogue, Abigail just becomes. How can I put it? She just becomes the point where she. I don't think Abigail is bright enough to realize what the world requires a man to do. I think she just. I don't think she's smart enough. I think she's panicking about the fact that she doesn't actually know what to do.
she's emotional,
Yeah.
especially when you get to the like the final act. It's like, she's just, please don't, John, and she starts crying. It's like I know what they're trying to do. It's like they want Abigail to, like, she's so in love with John and cares about him, but it's so oddly written where it's like, no, you're a bad person, John. Like, stop doing good things. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. Abigail is also the woman who decides it's a good idea to buy a plot of land literally 5 minutes away from Blackwater after John was involved in the Blackwater massacre. It's like, well done, Abigail. Anyway, let's see what else he's got to say about this, because... Oh, dear.
Dreams of working a nice ranch with John after reading about a nice bit of land in a newspaper. She wants to have a place to call their own. Yet, John shoots this idea down. He feels hopeless. He feels he can't change. Yet, despite this, there is a spark of hope. Despite John's struggles, despite his obvious shortcomings, Abigail can see that John is trying to change.
You're doing better.
And this is pretty endearing. We want John to live a good life with his family, especially after Arthur sacrificed himself for that very goal. And we especially don't want to see them be torn apart and having Arthur's arc be for nothing. We have, of course, come to care about John, Abigail, and Jack. We want John to overcome this hurdle so he can live the life we know he and his family deserve. A life free from his old outlaw past and his previously selfish and needlessly violent ways. Unfortunately, however, after one too many violent actions, Abigail and Jack leave John in fear.
Okay, you're very disingenuous because you just overlooked all the fucking... Oh my god. One too many violent actions. Okay, give us the examples of them. Oh, you don't want to because they disprove your point. Wow.
I mean, maybe he's probably talking about the off-screen stuff, but again, it's off-screen.
No, but Abigail and Jack leave after the three men try and shoot John, and John has to shoot them before they kill him and Jack. Which is after the Pronghorn Ranch gets attacked.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how you play the mission. It's either that one or the other one. You pick which one, but so I don't know. Maybe it's
the Pronghorn Ranch is the first one that happened, and then also you have the situation where he beats up the guy who's attacking his co-worker. Who also calls Abigail a whore and threatens to come back and rape her. But oh, John, don't do anything. Don't bring attention. Yeah, I know that guy says he's going to come back and rape me, and he's part of a horrific gang that does that sort of stuff. But why would I want you to actually protect me? Fuck off, Abigail.
Yeah, I don't know. How you could sympathize with Abigail? Okay.
It's just...
It's like, okay, YouTuber.
Yeah.
He'd end up getting himself killed. Despite John wanting to change, despite Abigail recognising John's efforts to change, he simply can't, and his family leave as a consequence. And this is the wake-up call John needs to get his act together. He recognises the error of his ways. He now understands he needs to put his family first, no matter what. He asks his boss...
I mean, he's just... Not really. It's like, no, he was still doing the same thing, working at the ranch. It's just now, It's like, okay, I'm going to get this house. That should get her back. Everything should be fine. That's it.
Yeah. It's not him putting his family first. He's always he puts his family first the minute that Jack gets kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Back in chapter 4 in the story, it's just the fact that John knows how to. John's good with guns. That's his thing. So he solves a lot of a lot of the violent problems with violence, which what we see is what is necessary.
Well, and we're talking about, even though it's the end of the Wild West, it's like, well, we're still, especially the New Austin area that they live in, it's still pretty violent. So,
heck,
you even get examples in Red Dead where it's like they try to steal their herd, and it's like, well, what is John supposed to do? He's got to kill them.
Yeah, it's like, and also you have to remember in Red Dead Redemption 2, when you get Beecher's Hope and everything, there's a gang of crazy people in tall trees in the forest right next door that skin people alive. The Skinner brothers.
Yeah, the Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what they did to Uncle and burned his bag.
Yeah.
Ooh.
To the point where it made Charles is like the most badass person ever, and even he's a bit, put off by him. Charles is a 6'5", rather sturdy, like black Indian, and you're like, okay, you're worried about these people, and Abigail's like, guns, don't use violence.
Yeah, no, they're still bandits, even though they're trying to cut down on the bandits. It's like, no.
Yeah.
We're still living a hard time.
Missed again, buying a loan to buy the Beecher's Hope land, the one Abigail wished to get with John. He expresses that he wants to build the Beecher's Hope ranch as a sign to Abigail he is going to change, to become the man she wants him to be, to become the good man that puts his family first before anything we see in Red Dead Redemption 1.
My wife also has issues with some of the decisions I've made. Real issues. Do you believe a man can change, sir? I need to get a place of my own, so I can prove to my wife that I've changed.
This is his clear motivation, this is what he wants. He fully commits to trying to do right by Abigail, and as a result, he buys the land at Beecher's Hope, and starts to build the ranch. He doesn't partake in violence for the sake of it, or without the goal of building the ranch, finally settling down in mind. He fully dedicates himself to changing and winning his family back. He writes a letter to Abigail, stating how he has worked hard at becoming the man he knows he has to be.
My darling Abigail, I hope you and Jack are doing well, but I'm trying very hard to be something like the man you deserve. In an effort to impress you, I've purchased a home. Hope soon to show it to you. I miss you and the boy more than I can express. Please, come back to me.
This letter is incredibly endearing. John's character progression is so well written, and I really actually enjoyed it. It's great to see how John is transformed into the man he was, into the man he has become, into the character we saw in Red Dead Redemption 1. This is why John Marston is such a well-written character. His arc from being this selfish, short-sighted, arrogant man to finally realising his family is more important than anything in the world is easily one of the best in gaming, perhaps even one of the best in fiction. And more importantly, this is the arc that makes John into the character we loved in Red Dead Redemption 1, and so far it's been incredibly well written. So, of course, after John's hard work to change, Abigail returns, and they sprint into each other's arms. Seeing his family again after doing them wrong, after pushing them away, clearly means so much to him. Surely, he'd never push them away again. After she settles in, he even asks her to legally marry him, to finally seal the promise that he had become a changed man. He was finally going to settle down and live a normal life with his family. He was going to be the man his family deserved. He wasn't going to let his old lifestyle ruin his new one. He was going to fully become the character we see in Red Dead Redemption 1, and the one his family deserves. His arc is finally complete. He realised they mean more to him than anything in the world. He clearly loves his family and will now put them first before anything. John Marston has finally found his redemption.
What?
And what does he do to live?
I mean, he's finally found his redemption. His redemption comes in Red Dead Redemption 1. Hence why it's called Red Dead Redemption.
I don't know. Didn't you mention before one time that, like,
what?
I'm trying to figure out what he means. Like, he achieved redemption because of Arthur or something.
Yeah, what
I
was he
can't
trying
remember
to?
how you phrased it.
What was John trying to redeem in the second game? Like, what was he trying to do?
What? No, I don't know. He was just trying to
Redeem his family, maybe, because he's been such a neglectful father.
maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that he said
This
that.
is a very weird thing, but let's see what else. Yeah, so he's become the character that he became in Red Dead Redemption. It's like, yes, okay, that's cool. How does him going after Micah break his character that much then?
Literal day after all of this, he breaks all these promises. He abandons his family to pursue an unnecessary revenge quest against Micah. He stops caring about what his family want and puts his own selfish desire for revenge first.
Woman,
I will.
that's your business. His business is here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll ride with you.
No, I'm begging you. No! You risk all this.
This ain't no more real than one of Jack's dragons.
I'm begging you. We've lived a lot of lives.
Let's just live this one from now on.
All the work he did to better himself, all the promises he made that he'd change for his family, has been undone. He potentially throws the perfect life he had created with his family away. The life he had spent so hard trying to build, just to satisfy his bloodlust against Micah. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, Micah screwed over his entire life and gang and killed Arthur, destroyed Dutch, murdered loads of people. And Micah's an incredibly disgusting, horrible bastard who, as you find out, knows where John is and intends to go and see Abigail and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's threatened to
well,
go and rape Abigail. So,
well, what it comes down to, it's Arthur had sacrificed his life in order for John to prosper with his wife. Boy, that's what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now he knows where Micah is. He has the opportunity to kill the man who pretty much killed Arthur and the entire gang, basically.
Yeah. Who, as he found out, betrayed the gang to the Pinkerton.
Right? Yeah, he was a rat. So
yeah,
I'm trying to understand this guy's point of view. It's like it somehow undoes everything that this game did, and then of course the previous game, the first game.
Yeah, it's not because he's got a bloodlust. It's because he's. I don't hear him saying the fact that Sadie and Charles go as well. It's like John's not gone on his own. Like 2 other people go with him. The remaining members of the gang go and take on Micah because they want to get revenge on him because of what he did. So,
and of course he didn't include this John's reasoning, which is all of this wouldn't exist if it weren't for Arthur and all of the others that fell.
Yeah. Arthur would be there with them if it wasn't for Micah.
Do you think he would? Because I think, see, this is where it gets weird, because it's like Arthur did want John to move on, not to. What is it? Revenge is a fool's game, right? That's kind of the idea behind it. So
I can understand. Like Arthur probably wouldn't want him to do it, but Sadie, Charles, and John have all agreed to do this. As Black Romeo says, his point of view is Abigail is right, and it's like, yeah, for some bizarre reason, everyone thinks Abigail is the sane, rational one, and it's like she's not in any way. Epilogue Abigail is so unreasonable and irrational; it's unbelievable. To the point where it's like, I don't
know. to go back to just like how does it ruin the entire story? The entire story of Arthur Morgan, who is a bad man, gets sick, and then he turns his life around.
Mm-hmm. And how does it affect John's redemption when his redemption's in the first game?
I don't know.
Anyway, let's see what else he's got to say, because that's just ridiculous.
Incredible. Incredibly well written story. Well done, Rockstar. What were you thinking? You almost had a perfect character arc. You created such an amazing epilogue and tore it down right at the end. It's like you had the ball teed up for a perfect home run, and you just blew it. You just blew it. Well done. Just well done. Incredible.
You had the ball teed up for a perfect home run. I don't know much about sports ball, but that doesn't sound how you do baseball.
You're talking about
that sounds like
golf?
he's mixed up. Yeah, that's golf. And
I just want to do the Big Lebowski. Obviously, you're not a golfer. He drops the bowling ball.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's you've been getting hints of Micah returning and everything like that throughout the epilogue. You know you've got to get revenge on Micah at some point.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, it's even reinforced when you have the last confrontation with Micah, with Arthur, and he says, after I kill you, I'm going after Marston.
Yeah,
because that's how spiteful Micah is. He doesn't give a shit. He loves the madness, the chaos.
On the mountaintop when John finally finds him, Micah says after he's killed John, he's going after Abigail and Jack.
Yeah.
It's like, so that automatically means he knows where they are. Micah's been in the area. He knows where the people are. He's going at. Micah is pure evil. He can't be allowed to exist. So yeah, you can understand where it is, and it's one of those things where I know people are saying, like Arthur said, run and don't look back. I know it is sort of looking back, but it's one of those where it plays into the first one. It's how Edgar Ross finds him. So it's a nice way to set up the second game and everything. Like it gives the player revenge. It doesn't destroy John's character.
No, I don't think.
John's so person you can make decisions and stuff. I know Arthur says do something and Abigail says do something, but he can make his own decisions on what he thinks is right. And he thinks what is right is to kill Micah, which is what Charles and Sadie also think is right. So, and Charles is even the one who says, "Oh, I don't think Arthur would want us going after revenge," while Charles is riding towards Mount Hagen to get revenge. So, also Sadie got told Revenge of the Fools game by Arthur as well. So
the thing was, I don't know, with a character trying to take revenge, even maybe if it's the wrong thing to do, it's just like I don't know. Arthur was a brother to him, even though they had their little ups and downs. He was a brother. They grew up together, and it's just I don't know. You can't help but feel like some sort of justice needs to be done after he's been murdered by someone so disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how would you not understand that feeling? That's like maybe they could have done more with that, but that's the idea of it. Because they're brothers, and he's lost him. Now he has a chance to avenge him.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Is that like the end of his point, or does he say more, Eric?
I want to keep going. It's up to you guys. I think he's already exhausted. I it's so, I don't know how it ruins both games just because he decided to go this revenge quest.
Oh well. What do you think, Smud?
Yeah, I have nothing to say. I'm so sorry. I couldn't tell you. The idea of redemption is you feel bad that you did something and you have to right that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you think in terms of retribution, you still feel bad that you have to right something like revenge or whatever. But it's not like we have a certain word and term for that. So you could try and fit it into the same slot, but it's not the same thing, even though the outcome is essentially we need to stop a bad guy from ruining our lives or for the things he did to us or the reason to, there's many reasons to stop this guy. And I try to remember, what was it? NCIS, that show, where Gibbs, his entire backstory is some drug lord killed his family, and he hunted him down and sniped him from, where I think in Mexico or wherever he was, because his family was killed by this guy. And they did this whole other alternate reality story where what if that never happened, and what would become of him? And he's a broken man, and he lives by himself as he always did, but he's really violent and he lets his hair grow out and all this crap. So there's a redeeming quality to getting vengeance, but I still wouldn't call it redemption, because redemption is usually I did something wrong. I need to right that wrong by helping other people or whatever. That part of that story of my life is done because that person's dead or whatever that case may be is no longer going to happen again. I have to go out into the world and redeem myself. So in this case, it's more than just that. It's more than just stopping one guy. It's preventing him from causing future tragedy, and knowing the guy is a villain, like knowing like he's not just some opportunist. He's just a horrible person who's.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the first things you do with Micah is you massacre an entire town just so Micah can get his old guns back. Like, he has no qualms about killing hundreds of people. And
I think he's killed women and children as well.
Yeah. As in, like, this guy isn't just, like you said, an opportunist or just, like, a little bit bad. The guy is, like, pure evil. Like,
he will tell you that he's just like you're his friend while stabbing you in the back. Like, that's how scummy he is.
No. He'll tell you you're his friend while he stabs you in the front. That's the sort of guy he is. Like, the guy, like, does everything. It's like he is so evil that when it turned out that he was the rat, no one was surprised. People were more surprised that Rockstar would be so blatant that he was the bad guy. Do you know what I mean? There was no, like, secrets. It was like, oh my god, this guy's clearly the bad guy. Oh my god, he was actually the bad guy. He's just that evil. Like, nobody likes him.
Well, and it's just to get back to, like, it ruins the whole story. Because then I think, what about Jack? That's not what his parents wanted. That's not what Arthur wanted.
Yeah, Jack killing Edgar Ross at the end of the first game. No one complains about that.
Like, wouldn't that ruin that story? Like, or the previous story before? It's like, I don't know. I think it's a bit hyperbolic to say that it ruins the entire story because the character has their own agency.
Yeah.
And, yeah, maybe it's the wrong thing, but I don't know.
John is not infallible. He makes mistakes. And he makes, obviously, hindsight, he makes a mistake of going after Mike because it brings Edgar Ross onto him in the Bureau, which leads to his death. But at the time, it's the best decision. But anyway.
And, well, yeah, he eventually sacrifices himself. It's like he finally owns up to all of his past mistakes.
Huh.
All right. So, do we want to keep going with this video, or do you want to watch another one, or what do you want to do here?
Is there anything else in this video? I mean, the other video that I've got is just like, the recap of the story. So it's just from Red Dead 2 to Red Dead 1. So people haven't seen it, but there's something in the background to talk about. What do you want to do, Eric? It's up to you, man.
Sounds good to me. I'm done with this guy. He just repeats himself all the time. It's like, okay, we get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the second one.
The West, 1899. But wild, no more. No longer is there a clear line of advancing settlements. The frontier is confined to history. The Indian Wars have been won, Native Americans put out to reservations. The world is shrinking fast. Communication and transport is connecting towns and cities, and the corporations have their hold over the land, the wealth that it contains, and its people. The type of freedom that was afforded to gangs to make their living has gone. Like the Dutch Van der Linde gang. This group is suffering in this changing world. Corporations have the money and the power to protect their interests. Corporations run by the likes of Leviticus Cornwall, who can hire ruthless muscle like the Pinkerton Detective Agency. They were waiting for Dutch's gang in Blackwater, the day of the boat heist. They were now on the run. I'm the Patient Wolf. I'm a Let's Player and filmmaker whose main focus while playing video games...
Alrighty.
I don't know.
What happened? Hey, what's going on?
I'm just advancing. I don't know how far to go.
They first find Micah Bell, one of the newest additions to the gang. Micah had saved Dutch's life in a bar and is now one of them.
Found anything? Found a little homestead down that way.
Maybe it has supplies, but this homestead is occupied by members of the O'Driscolls, a rival gang where hatred runs high. They interrogate the last surviving O'Driscolls. The gang are holed up nearby. Their leader and Dutch's nemesis, Colm O'Driscoll, has a plan to rob a train. They search the house for supplies and in doing so come across Sadie Adler. The O'Driscolls invaded her home, killed her husband and took her hostage.
Miss, it'll be okay.
Dutch takes her into the care of the gang. In good times...
Actually, I'm sorry to pause, but I wanted to ask what you thought about Sadie Adler character overall.
First,
there's been people going back and forth of like whether she's a Mary Sue or if she's actually a well-written character.
First time playing through, I really enjoyed her character. Second time playing through, and you're going a bit slower through the story and you're seeing things. Yeah, she does have a lot of Mary Sue qualities.
Yeah.
And also, like, she's very unstable, which you can understand, obviously, with what she went through. But she gets a lot of people killed for her lust for revenge.
She sure doesn't get any consequences for it.
No, the worst that she gets is obviously at the end when she gets she gets stabbed at the end, survives, and like recovers really well. Yeah, she does have a lot of...
Or what do you mean?
Pardon?
What are you saying? Was that a problem, or what do you mean by like?
No, it's just one of those things where it's like she gets a little bit of a consequence to stuff, but okay. She recovers to the point where we're a bit like, oh well, it might not have,
fully healed. You mean?
It might well never have happened. Do you know what I mean? It's so quick, it might well never have happened. But no, she has this. This is another thing. It's like John going after revenge against Micah is wrong, but no one ever mentions about the fact that Sadie has just got this bloodlust. She has got a bloodlust for revenge. That's all she is. That's all her character is, revenge. And she even says that herself, that by losing her husband, she's been turned into a monster.
Yeah.
But no one ever seems to bring that up as like a problem. Yet John going after Mike is seen as a problem. He's got.
I think Arthur mentions it once, but that's like the only time. It's sort of like sidetracked.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see how people can like her, but I can also see how people can absolutely despise her and call her a Mary Sue. It's very easy to do. She is very she becomes an amazing gunslinging outlaw way too quickly. But hey ho. If you want to keep going.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it was...
Isn't bad. This group work together to survive. All have complementary skills. Susan Grimshaw oversees the smooth running of the camp. Pearson makes sure everyone is nourished. Karen, Mary Beth, and Tilly offer their skills as thieves and scout for tips. Leopold Strauss, he keeps the books and runs the money lending operation. Uncle and the Reverend Swanson have their uses, but are more concerned with their addictions. Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, Charles Smith, and Lenny Summers offer muscle and gunmanship. Another man of that ilk is currently out in the storm, feared missing. Husband to Abigail, father to Jack, and adopted brother to Arthur. John Marston. Arthur and Javier set out to find him. Arthur learns more about the Blackwater heist.
Dutch killed a girl in a bad way, but it was a bad situation.
That ain't like him, though.
They find John cuts to his face under siege from the mountain wildlife. They return to the safety of Coulter. Dutch rallies the gang to go and scope out Colm O'Driscoll's camp nearby. Dutch says for supplies, but Arthur and Hosea suspect revenge.
I learned a long time ago that you hit Colm O'Driscoll. Wait for him, and people you love will die.
Dutch and Colm used to run together, but turned enemies. Dutch killed Colm's brother, and Colm killed Annabelle, the woman he loved. Dutch also wants to know more about the train job they were planning.
I know you don't think much of my ideas recently, but this is the right move. Okay, you know I got your back.
Colm leaves, but Colm can wait. They invade the camp, kill the O'Driscolls occupying it, and leave with dynamite and the plans to attack Leviticus Cornwall's train. On returning to Coulter, they pick up Kieran Duffy, a newish member of the O'Driscoll gang, and take him hostage. He could be useful. Dutch waste no time as they have a train to catch.
Why are we doing this? Weather's breaking, we could leave. I thought we was lying low. I just don't want any more folks to die, Dutch.
But we need money. Everything we has in Blackwater.
Leviticus Cornwall's no joke, Dutch.
Sounds like he has more than enough to share. It is time to make something of ourselves.
The gang have already kicked the Hornet's nest in Blackwater, and they do it once more. The gang stop the train and relieve the armoured carriage of bonds, another fly in the ointment of the Cornwall-led corporation. As the snow thaws, the gang make their way down into the heartlands. They need to keep moving. Dutch sends Lenny and Micah ahead for reconnaissance, and the gang eventually arrive at Horseshoe Overlook, near the town of Valentine.
Here we are, gentlemen. Home sweet home.
Dutch insists the plan is still on track.
We make a bit of money here. In a few months, buy some land.
I hope so.
We are safe now, and we are far too poor. So it is time for everyone to get to work.
The camp exists with Dutch at its centre, often flanked by his adoring and often neglected girlfriend, Molly O'Shea.
He bloody well loves me, you know? He bloody well does.
The camp is home. Some are more comfortable than others. Kieran imprisoned until the gang are ready for him, but first, like Dutch said, the gang need money. Each member of the gang has their way to bring in their share. Herr Strauss puts money out on the street, which Arthur collects. Hosea's got a line on fencing carriages. Charles contributes more honest work on occasion in hunting. The gang also act on tips that the girls find. Mary Beth got wind of a train heist, and Karen a bank job. These are the riskiest methods, but invariably the most profitable. The law could quickly be on you, and it's a great way to further rile the corporate entities needing to protect their investments. All that work can be exhausting. But Valentine is a great place to get some R&R. The boys are supposed to be lying low.
Oh, and we have our answer!
Bill starts it, but Arthur finishes it, besting the local brute, Tommy. Before he can do serious damage, he is stopped by a good Samaritan, Thomas Downs.
Surely that's enough.
What business is it of yours?
I beg you.
Making new friends again, I see, Arthur.
Josiah Trelawney.
Josiah is a con man and a part-time member of the gang, kept around because of his sporadic but often crucial information. Here, this time with news of Sean Maguire, a member of the gang lost during the failed heist in Blackwater.
He's being held by some bounty hunters, trying to see how much money the government will pay them.
While Sean is being moved, the gang infiltrate and take him back.
Just to mention, that's like to my point of like with John being captured. So even that early into the game, it's shown that not everyone's going to get shot at and killed. So review the video wrong once again, but anyhow.
Okay.
Carry on.
You're a great man, Arthur Morgan. The kind of young whippersnapper I can really admire.
Oh, shut up.
There hasn't been much cause for celebration of late, but a safe return of one of their number is definitely one of them. A win for the gang, but they still have work to do. Arthur has more debts to collect, and one of those debtors is Thomas Downs. Ill, desperate, and with no hope of paying up, Arthur leaves empty-handed. Crippled by debt, the family won't last long, and Arthur knows it. Coming up against corporations and other outlaws, Arthur can figure. But something about real people caused real pain, he can't. Thomas Downs succumbs to his illness, and his wife and son are left destitute. Dutch finally gets round to questioning Kieran.
Okay, listen. I know where O'Driscoll's holed up, and you're right. He don't like you any more than you like him. He's at 6 Point Cabin.
They take Kieran and kill more O'Driscolls, but Colm is not there. Kieran saves Arthur's life in the process.
You alright?
Sure, thank you.
In payment for this, Kieran can stay with the gang in the camp as a free man. Lenny returns to the camp shaken. He and Micah have been missing ever since being sent ahead for scouting. Micah has been arrested in Strawberry for murder.
You know my feelings about him, Dutch.
You think I can't see past his bluster to the heart inside? He is a fine man.
Arthur reluctantly agrees to break him out.
You're lucky Dutch has got your back for some unknown reason.
We're family now. Sons of Dutch. Makes us brothers.
The saying that you can't choose your family is never truer than in Dutch's gang. His other brother, Jack Marston, has nigh on recovered from his wounds and is up and earning. But in the camp, he has a family. A family he has a record of neglecting.
He ditched us for a goddamn year. Running off on that kid is one thing, but there's code.
John, like Arthur, wrestles with who he is. John, struggling to be a father as well as an outlaw. In the meantime, though, young Jack seems to have his share of father figures in the camp. Arthur takes Jack fishing. When packing up, Agent Milton and Agent Ross of the Pinkertons show up.
You're a wanted man, Mr. Morgan. It's $5,000 for your head alone. We want Vanderlyn. Bring in Vanderlyn, and you have my word you won't swing.
Loyal to the cause, Arthur refuses and returns to Dutch.
Well, what do we do now? I say we do nothing. We just need to stay calm.
Stay calm. Those they have wronged in the past with their way of life had not the power of Leviticus Cornwall. By stealing his assets, robbing his trains and disrupting his advancement, the gang have made themselves targets and the world is closing in. Safe for now, Arthur meets John for another job, wrestling sheep to selling Valentine.
You was at that thing in Blackwater. We already seen Pinkertons here. This life, this way, well, we're the last, I reckon. We ain't long for it.
After herding their stolen sheep back to Valentine, they meet Dutch and Strauss in the saloon. John and Strauss exit the saloon and Dutch and Arthur's conversation gets interrupted.
Get out here! Get out
What
here
the
now! You don't know me, but you keep robbing me! My name is Leviticus Cornwall. I am not a man to be messed with by the likes of you! Get out here before I have these men killed! Deal with this nonsense.
Arthur manages to free his friends and the gang shoot their way out of Valentine.
We can't stick around after this. Let's go!
This time, to Clemens Point, near Rhodes.
Imagine what a slew of rich simpletons there must be down here. Oh, this is perfect for you, Hosea. You'll be able to play them like a fiddle.
The gang find themselves in a land caught between two warring families, the Greys and the Braithwaites. Dutch spots an opportunity and divides the troops, with Arthur heading up the investigation of the Greys and Hosea to spearhead the Braithwaites. The Greys are tobacco plantation owners and own half the businesses in Rhodes. Lee Gray is the town sheriff. The Braithwaites are former slave owners and cotton farmers, now turned to moonshine since the Civil War.
Awful people, truly awful. They've been fighting with the Greys for as long as I can remember.
If I don't get out of here soon, I'm gonna kill somebody.
Sadie Adler is emerging from her cloud of grief and beginning to feel pent up. Up in the Adler Ranch, she was a self-sufficient woman that shared all the work with her husband, including the hunting. The menial work in the camp is getting her down, and she wants to be involved in more of the heavy lifting.
So be it. But we do more than just hunting. We're hunted.
Sadie's inaugural outing to Rhodes turns south. A local gang attack, but she and Arthur hold their own. Sadie has emerged from a cocoon of grief a different woman, one fueled by hate and revenge towards the O'Driscolls.
These two families. I really think we can play this from all sides. We gotta convince each family that we're on their side, and then we rob them both. Before they figure out it was us that done it, and not the other lot, we'll be long gone.
The gang help the Greys confiscate moonshine liquor from the Braithwaites, selling it back to them, then giving it away in the Rhodes saloon to undermine the Grey profit margin. Stealing Braithwaite pedigree horses, burning Grey tobacco, giving satisfaction to either family with one hand and dealing disarray with the other, hoping that in doing so they could earn enough trust to learn more information about the legendary Confederate gold that lies somewhere between them. Although away from Valentine and a new location unknown to the Pinkertons for now, their reach cannot be underestimated. The gang gets wind that the O'Driscolls are looking to draw a line under their feud and broker a peace treaty.
Have you lost your minds?
You're always telling us, Dutch, do what has to be done, but don't fight wars ain't worth fighting.
Despite his hatred for Colm O'Driscoll, Dutch is persuaded. They suspect a trap, but due to the heat on them from all sides, it's a chance they have to take. Arthur takes position with his rifle, but their suspicions are correct. Dutch and Micah leave unscathed, but Arthur, on the hill, is Colm's real target. Now kidnapped, they hope to lure Dutch into their possession and hand him over to the Pinkertons, in exchange for the freedom to be outlaws. After all, it's Dutch they want.
The way I see it, they get him, they forget about me. They ain't the forgetting sort.
Arthur escapes. The Pinkertons fail again. Back in Rhodes, it seems Dutch underestimated the land and its people. They thought they could pull the wool over the eyes of both families and use the hatred between them to mask their intent. It seems the gang overstepped. Not only did the families use the gang for their own means, they knew their plan and now look to nip it in the bud. The Greys request a meeting in Rhodes.
This don't feel right.
Now it don't feel right. I could have told you that.
Sean Maguire is the first casualty since Blackwater, but the Greys underestimate the shooting power of Dutch's gang.
This is the Greys town! Only Greys I see left around here is you!
In a few short minutes, a dynasty that has had a hold on this land for decades is removed, but another gang member has fallen.
He was like an annoying little brother to me. What fun we had riding together. What a goddamn mess we are making of things.
Where's my goddamn son?
While the Greys got the measure of the gang, so have the Braithwaites. Catherine Braithwaite, uncovering their theft of her much-loved horses, retaliates by taking their youngest son, Jack. Their plans now flawed, they set out to get him back. The mythical gold that divides this family seemingly stays mythical, as the gang conclude it may not exist.
Both these redneck families think they can ruin us? I don't think so.
Just like they decimated the Greys, the gang, filled with purpose, wipe out the Braithwaites, not before extracting the whereabouts of Jack.
Where's the boy?
My sons gave him to Angelo Bronte. So my guess is Saint Denis.
They have a name and a location, but before they leave for pastures new, the Pinkertons finally come face to face with Dutch van der Linde in the perceived safety of their camp.
This is a civilized land now.
This place ain't no such thing as civilized. It's man. So in love with greed, he has forgotten himself and found only appetites.
Agent Milton's plan? To test the ties that bind. Dutch come with them now, and the rest can go free.
I don't want to kill all these folk, Dutch. Just you.
In that case, it'd be my honor to join you.
The loyalty that Dutch values is strong, and the Pinkertons leave empty-handed. But it's time to move on again.
Welcome home to my humble abode.
Shady Belle is their new home.
Dodge?
Yes?
Could I have a word with you?
Not now. Everything okay with you two? I got far more important things to worry about right now than Molly O'Shea.
Dutch and Arthur ride to Saint Denis.
I think we need to move a little further. Put some ocean between us and all of this.
The gang's dream of heading west may be over. Each job they pull engenders more determination from the country to track them down. Dutch now plans to take them abroad, but not yet. Their driver now in this progressive town is to find Jack and earn the money needed for a new life.
Hey there. Have you ever heard of a man called Angelo Bronte?
Angelo Bronte is a gangster with the town in his pocket. That includes the law and the city mayor. They track him down at his town mansion.
How about this? You perform a simple job for me, and you get your son back.
You boys found my pappies, what?
They comply, and Jack returns to the relief of the gang.
I got my son back!
Jack. Everything's okay now.
A moment of harmony in a sea of disorder. Saint Denis is the biggest city around, home to industry, criminality. People flock here to make ends meet in all sorts of ways. Mrs. Downs is one of those. In order to keep her and her son afloat, she has turned to prostitution. And when Arthur, the symbol of their ruination, crosses her path...
Mrs. Downs?
Oh, no. Not you.
Hey,
Help! Help!
Hold on.
This man is bothering me.
Her shame and hatred is evident. Angelo Bronte runs this town. He has the law, the government, and now he wants Dutch's gang to use them for his own ends. He invites them to a ball hosted by the mayor to set this dynamic in motion. The gang, however, see this as the perfect opportunity to get the measure of the opportunities in this town.
So, this is Saint Denis High Society.
Whether Dutch knows this or not, this party represents a world that is slowly killing the way of life he holds dear. Hobart Crawley represents the army that helped facilitate the economic expansion both at home and in islands like Guam. And Alberto Fuzar, the Cuban installed as leader in Guam by the US. He facilitates Leviticus Cornwall's sugar empire there, while oppressing its people to assist. Another oppressed nation, the Wapiti Indian tribe, is also here to plead against the government, breaking their treaty and allowing Cornwall's oil interests to enter their land. The gang is not the only way of life being threatened in this country. But at this moment, the agenda of the guests of this party are not their concern. They leave armed with information on jobs at a casino, a trolley station, and the biggest score of all, at a bank. So they have a plan that's back on track, and some space. But the Pinkertons aren't the only aggressors that want the head of Dutch van der Linde.
What is that? What the hell have they done to me?
The O'Driscolls attack the clamp. The gang are pushed back to the house, but Sadie is trapped outside. As Arthur moves in to help, he witnesses the anger and rage against the O'Driscolls that has been brewing ever since they took her husband. She has believed herself a capable outlaw for some time. From this moment, the gang believe it too. Although not fully fledged, they have lost another gang member to their enemies in Kieran Duffy. Later on, both Sadie and Dutch get to see Colm O'Driscoll hang, although this does not stem their anger. If the O'Driscolls can find their camp, the Pinkertons won't be far behind.
We need to leave forever, but for us all to leave together, we need enough for a boat. Now, I found a friendly ship captain. He's willing to take us to Australia or Tahiti.
For this, they need money. The casino job? They trick their way into the safe room for a decent haul, but still not enough. The trolley station? A tip given to them by Angelo Bronte. The gang march in, but the tip is a poor one. In fact, they have been set up by Bronte. Saint Denis' finest are waiting for them.
Put the law on us? What did I do to him? I guess he thinks he's the king around here.
There is a pattern to Dutch's actions thus far. He will not be walked over or governed by anyone, and anyone who slights him or anyone he holds dear will run the risk of extinction. On more than one occasion he has denied it is revenge and conjured a pragmatic reason for the action he takes. The gang now infiltrates Bronte's mansion. They take care of his gangsters, and Dutch, planning to ransom him, kills Angelo brutally while enraged.
It ain't nice. I know it. But it is us or him.
Hosea's bank job is the last on their list. Do that and they're off to Tahiti. Since the failed Blackwater heist, the other members have been questioning Dutch's decisions more and more. First Hosea, then Arthur, and now John.
This is it, gentlemen. The last one. Where have we heard that before? What has happened to you, John? You lost all your heart. I'm just trying to stay real about all this.
Dutch is beginning to lose patience. Hosea, with Karen, sets off a decoy. The gang move in and look to leave with the money they need. But the Pinkertons are waiting, and they have Hosea as hostage.
Someone must have squealed. Never should have gone after Bronte, Dutch.
Hosea, Dutch's partner in crime, his guiding light, his voice of reason, is executed by Agent Milton in the street.
God damn it! Kill those bastards! You lost John. Killed? Arrested. I couldn't help. Well, we better go. We'll be next.
With Hosea dead and John arrested, they make their escape over the rooftops, only to suffer another casualty to their number.
Damn shit!
Lenny is gunned down.
You got Lenny?
The remainder take haven in an abandoned building. Saint Denis is now in complete lockdown. The only way out is by sea.
We leave. We lie low. We come back for the rest in a few weeks.
Charles causes a distraction while the remainder of the bank job crew stow away on a ship setting sail for Cuba. While the storm up near Colter allowed the gang to escape, the storm in the Atlantic Ocean found them in chains. Escaping a sinking ship, the gang washed up on the island of Guama and are quickly scooped up by the overseer of the sugar plantation, the right-hand man of Alberto Fusar. To fill Cornwall ships with sugar and to keep profits high, Fusar and his men work this land and its people hard. A land oppressed, it has those that would fight back. The rebels spring their brothers in chains, and Dutch's boys too, but in the melee, Javier is shot and captured.
Don't lose face, son! We'll find you!
In order to get off this island and back to the gang members they left behind, they need to get back Javier. The rebels know where he is being held, and in return for a bit of help with their cause, they can find them a boat. Arthur joins Dutch where Javier is being held.
So what happened with John in that bank? He survived. The only one they took alive. And Abigail, I presume she was able to slip away in time. I begin to wonder, maybe, for somebody, this is all going exactly to plan.
A fact that Arthur has failed to comprehend since the failed bank heist in Blackwater is how could Dutch have deliberately killed an innocent person in pursuit of his goals? That's not who they were. As a local guide attempts to extort more pay for sneaking them into the compound, Arthur sees this firsthand.
Pay now.
Dutch? What are you doing? Jesus. She was gonna betray us, Arthur. Couldn't you tell? You keep killing folk, Dutch.
They spring Javier, battle their way through Fusar and his men, and leave the island destined for Van Horn. They are to slip ashore individually and find the rest of the gang. Arthur tracks them down in Le Quay, closely followed by Dutch.
Trust me, I am gonna get us out of here.
We are here to arrest you!
The Pinkertons are waiting for them once again. Under fire, Sadie and Arthur manage to flank them. Eventually, they retreat.
You okay, son?
What do we do, Dutch?
Clearly we need to leave. I just need somebody to buy me some goddamn time, one of you.
You'll figure it out, boss. You always do.
What's remaining of the gang are all here, bar Molly, Dutch's girlfriend, and John, imprisoned. Dutch still not quite sure who tipped off the Pinkertons, but his money is on John.
What are you gonna do about John, Dutch?
Not now, Miss, not now.
Sadie has other ideas. The gang find a new home. Counting Colter, Beaver Hollow is their fifth but final stop as the Dutch Vanderlyn gang. Molly O'Shea is a woman marginalised by the events that have transpired. Deeply in love with Dutch, but attempts to connect with him have failed. Uncle finds her drunk in Saint Denis. A woman scorned, she submits that she is responsible for tipping off the Pinkertons about the bank robbery.
I I told them!
Miss Grimshaw does what gang rules require.
She knew the rules, Arthur.
There is one thing that Dutch demands of both himself and the people he has mentored under his guidance, and that is loyalty. In the past, he's been able to command it, not through money like Leviticus Cornwall, or fear like Cornwall Driscoll, but through love, or at least the love he exudes through his words.
Proud of you boys, all of you.
A paternal word of praise from Dutch exudes love, and if you are the recipient, you would follow him anywhere. But Dutch's actions have increasingly failed to match his words, and the questioning of those actions by his adopted sons, Arthur and John, are in contravention of this loyalty. In order to get through this, he needs their cooperation, not their opposition. They need to be like Micah.
Arthur, do you have my back?
Always, Dutch. But there's more than your back to worry about.
I ain't got a final plan yet. I just need time. I need time and no traitors.
Arthur sets off to meet Sadie in Saint Denis to free John. On the road, he collapses. Since moving from Horseshoe Overlook, Arthur has suffered increasingly intense coughing. Rescued and taken to a doctor, he is given a diagnosis of grave severity. All those weeks ago near Valentine, being a man he did not want to be, Arthur had contracted tuberculosis from the dying Thomas Downs.
Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
What you mean?
You're real sick. It's a progressive disease.
Arthur Morgan has weeks to live. Rocked by this news, Arthur starts to invite inner clarity that was previously missing to his situation. Although his time left is finite, he has a choice in what he does with that time. He has a destiny that does not need to be tied to Dutch. With this epiphany still clarifying in his mind, he sets off with Sadie to free his friend. They break him out of Sisika Island Penitentiary and return him to the gang. Abigail is delighted. Dutch is not.
John! What are you doing here?
Another example of his leadership being questioned.
Loyalty, Arthur. I had a goddamn plan!
Arthur, still coming to terms with a new view on the world, he bumps into Mrs. Downs.
This country is man unleashed. That's the thing, and it ain't my fault any more than it's anyone else.
Man unleashed? Then unleash goodness. Not just hell's feeble brothers, sir.
Charles Smith put it best when he heard of Arthur's terminal illness.
Any day we can die. We could both die tonight. In a way, it is a gift to know. In a way, you are lucky. You still have time to make amends. The others, Hosea, Lenny, Sean, all them, they didn't. You got the chance to do something better.
He starts this process with the Downs family, freeing them from poverty in order to start a new life.
I ain't looking for forgiveness. It ain't about that. Don't forgive me. Just take the money and get out of here, please. I know I ruined your life. I suffer for it every day. But don't let yourself get killed for pride. I've seen it kill too many folk.
Still hoping that Dutch is a man that can be salvaged, he meets him and Micah in Ansburg.
Micah reckons there's a rat.
Oh, does he? On what evidence? We've been on the run since you two fools went crazy in Blackwater. We don't need a rat. We got sloppier than the town drunk.
This time they are here for Leviticus Cornwall. Dutch wants to confront Cornwall and strike a deal to call off the Pinkertons.
This better not be no stupid revenge mission, Dutch.
Oh, Arthur, it's just a simple social call.
What do you want, sir?
You kill, I kill. You rob, I rob. Only difference I can see is I choose whom I kill and rob, and you destroy everything in your path. You give me this ship, $10,000, and safe passage out of here, I'll let you live.
I'll do no such thing.
You sure? Good. I prefer it this way.
You lost your man!
With Cornwall dead, they escape with information on a job big enough to help them find freedom. Before this moment, the gang could be considered pesky annoyances to the civilized world. Flies in the ointment of change. But in killing the country's captain of industry, a man more powerful than even the government, the gang have not just the Pinkertons on them, or the law, but the army too. To stem the flow of the army and to give them breathing room, they need to destroy the army's main route into the area. They blow the bridge.
Well,
I guess old Dutch got all the smoke he wants.
I love Dutch. He saved me a long time ago. Killing in cold blood, revenge. He seems to enjoy it now.
You know, all that ever mattered to me was loyalty. It's all I knew. It's all I ever believed in. Well, not anymore, John. You got a family. When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back.
The gang are now working towards differing ends with an unbridgeable rift, but there are still people in this gang and out that Arthur cares about. His fate is bound with theirs. They have diversion, they have confusion, but Dutch needs more. There is too much heat on the gang. Charles and Arthur have been doing all they can to help the Wapiti tribe, and their chief reigns full.
We've made peace treaties, and those treaties were broken, and we've been moved and punished and moved.
The army are now doing their utmost to provoke the Indians into undermining their agreement to allow Cornwall's empire to dig for oil on their land. Dutch recognises the hot-headedness of the chief's son, Eagle Flies.
Colonel Favors is a liar and a murderer. His people won't stop until we're all dead.
And Dutch whips Eagle Flies into a frenzy to attack the oil plant.
Some good, honest conflict between the army and the Indians might be just the distraction we need.
The gang ride with them, half of them to protect the Indians from certain death and half for another purpose. With Eagle Flies in trouble, the gang fight through to support, but the army turn up with heavy artillery. Arthur and Dutch enter the factory.
You know why I wanted them to attack this place? I have no idea. We're getting our ticket out of here.
Dutch and Arthur find the bonds in the office.
Arthur, we're nearly there.
The army scupper their escape and Arthur succumbs to a burst pipe. He is pounced on by soldiers. Dutch, able to help, leaves him. Eagle Fly saves him, but is shot in the process.
You ran away. Oh, I did no such thing. Don't be a fool.
Arthur and Charles take Eagle Flies back to Wapiti.
I feel like he's descended into the kind of man he told us never to be.
Maybe he's just become more who he really is. There used to be some reason to it. Lines that couldn't be crossed. We even helped some folk. Those lines been gone for some time now.
The time has come for us to draw our own lines, Arthur. Decide where we go from here.
Arthur returns to the camp to a shell of what it once was. By this point, a number of the gang have fled. Uncle, Mary Beth, Karen, Reverend Swanson, the cook Pearson. Dutch is now beyond saving. Whether he is a man turned or just now more of who he really is, that's unclear. But for years, he had good counsel at his side in Hosea Matthews, his best friend and anchor. With him gone and the recent addition of Micah to his side, he is taking counsel from a man fueling his ego and feeding his tendencies for chaos. Micah is allowing Dutch to become the man he was in the past, able to keep at bay. The man that kills innocent people. The man that chooses revenge over pragmatism. The man that before would not leave the weak behind. With their world closing in and his illness taking hold, Arthur needs to make sure those most dear to him are safe. Arthur agrees to help Dutch with this last job. He insists that after the job, they let the women and the Marstons go. Dutch hides his shock and anger, but agrees.
He insists upon it.
They board the train for their last job. On boarding, John gets shot. Dutch and Micah agree to go back for him, the remainder of the gang. Blow the carriage, and it is the score that they dreamed of.
Where's John? He didn't make it. That patrol killed him. We had to run.
Dutch now has the means and the noise. Tilly, with Jack, meets them and reports that Abigail has been captured by the Pinkertons. Dutch's new voice of reason gives his counsel.
Dutch, it's just a girl.
You're right. Micah, it pains me to say it, Arthur, but he's right. Dutch! Come on, boys.
Jack, come here. Be brave, son. I'm gonna go get your mama.
Arthur and Sadie reach Van Horn and fight their way to reach Abigail. Sadie gets caught in the process. Arthur fights his way to them.
Calm down, Mr. Morgan. We offered you a deal, Mr. Morgan. Micah Bell. We picked him up when you boys came back from the Caribbean, and he's been a good boy ever since. Molly O'Shea sweated her a couple of times, never talked a word, had to let her go.
Horrible man.
They leave via horseback, fighting off Pinkertons. Arthur Ayling asks them to stop. He tells Abigail they think John's dead.
He loved you. He loved you, and Jack, he did. You gotta go get that boy.
Armed with this revelation, he rides back to the camp. Hopefully this can break the spell Dutch is under and free him of the devil on his shoulder.
We all need to have a little chat. You talked?
That's a goddamn lie.
Dutch!
John?
You left me to die!
All of you, you pick your side now because this is over. All them years, Dutch, for this snake.
You live in the clouds.
No, you be quiet, Mr. Bell, and put down your gun.
There's Pinkertons coming. Fast.
Now! Who amongst you is with me?
Bell, Javier, think for yourself.
Dutch is now lost forever. The truth can't even drag him for what he craves most: chaos, violence, and power. He has become what he hates about this new America. A man controlled by his appetites, not his head. Arthur hasn't got much time left, but the Pinkertons are closing in. Arthur's life is drawing to a close, but if he can reunite a family, free a brother to start a new life, that would be something.
Come on, Arthur!
John and Arthur escape through the caves and make their way into the mountains. They continue on foot.
Thank you.
And with honour high, he fends off the Pinkertons to allow his friends to escape.
It would mean a lot to me. Please, go.
I got you now, Black Lung.
Rat! You rat!
I'm a survivor, Black Lung. A survivor.
God damn you. It's over. I gave you all I had.
We made it. We won. Come on.
John made it. He's the only one. I tried. In the end, I did.
Come on. Let's go. We can make it. Come on, Dutch.
Since Arthur was a boy, he has engaged in and fought for the philosophy of his mentor. Blind loyalty was his only compass. As Arthur dies, facing the dawning of a new day, he does so as a man of his own choosing. If this country...
Yeah, and that, honestly, that was one of the reasons why he's probably my favorite character of all time. At least in the...
Yeah.
I just, God, that finale, the music, just the setup of everything, the fact that you can actually choose, even though it probably doesn't make sense to return for the money, I like that fact of like you got to choose to do the right thing. It was just, I don't know, a little extra interactive thing that they didn't need to do, but they did.
Yeah.
Like it helps you feel more connected to the character.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the best. Arthur is one of the best characters. That, like, you knew what was going to happen, and yet still, you don't want it to happen, and you think there might be just some way, like, change stuff, but it just doesn't work out. And
yeah. It was just I kind of wish he showed the nun, because I like that scene of him admitting that he's afraid of dying, and afraid of we don't know what comes after death.
Yeah.
And just everything that in that last chapter of him just trying to make amends, trying to do better, and then of course when you get to that final ride and it's reflecting on everything done at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'll admit I teared up a little bit when you lose the horse, because I kept the same horse from the beginning, the first playthrough, just to hear him say, you know, thank you.
Yeah, it was just something. It was a nice addition, you know. But yeah, like Black Romeo keeps saying in the thing, it's like this is the story that the other video questioned the quality of. The thing is, Red Dead 2 has got it's a simple story, but it is done well. That's the thing. It's just the collapse of a gang, and you just see that happen, and it's just one man trying to find his, you know, until the TB comes along. He's trying to like figure out who he is, but he's always just followed Dutch. Now that he sees that Dutch, you know, can't be followed, he's trying to, you know, redeem himself, which is his redemption. So you start
to understand why the story is not about John. He's secondary, at least in the story. It's all about Arthur.
Yeah. It's still such a good game. It's like
I was never really into Western, and my friend convinced me. I'm glad that he did, because both of these games probably are really, really good stories, and I've always liked the dialogue and just the way that they speak back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
All of the kind of representation of what America used to be back in those days.
It does make me wonder what the international releases are for, you know, localization for languages, because they're so well done here. Obviously, you need, like, you know, various European languages and people to appreciate the games, but the voice acting seems very good, very well done. So that is a big sell for me. I love games that talk to you, and especially the quality level of the graphics and the faces and all the like even the fast little scenes. I don't know all the details, but wow, it's like these people are like really passionate about what's going on, and it really shows. So I really like that. Probably more so than other games that I that have talking heads like Deus Ex and what have you. This is really well done. So like I
think that's why a lot of people call it one of the best prequels, because I really got to give props to how they done Dutch, where you have a better understanding of like the man he kind of used to be and how he transformed into this savage idealist.
Well, I think as well with the animations, because they did a lot of motion capture for all the cutscenes and everything. So they were able to get like, you know, it's real people doing like the movements and stuff. So it seems more natural than when it's just straight up, you know, CG models. So that's something that it really helps with it. And the thing is, there's so much detail in this stuff. I mean, like, there's reflections on Arthur's eyes and stuff. So it's just crazy how much. I mean, they put 8 years of effort into it, so it's, you know, they're able to improve a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you want a game about story, I mean, it is a long slog of a game. I mean, I think my current playthrough that I'm doing, obviously when I get off this video, I think I'm on 120 hours, and I'm halfway through. You know, it's there's so much to do. But it's good, and the thing is, once you play it, you start to like compare it to all other games that have come out since, and you're like, why can't these other games be as detailed and as good as Red Dead 2? So
even the first one, I mean, I was real young when I played that, and the older I am now, it's like I appreciate that game more and more.
Oh yeah,
just the level of writing. I think is so like they cross their T's and dot their I's. I think it's really well written, especially the way that John Marston speaks.
Yeah,
it's just so.
The only negative I will always say is the Guarma chapter. In terms of writing, it's one of those weird.
It feels like we went off track.
Yeah, they go there, and it's never really brought up again. So it's
it's weird, but at the same time, I don't know. I liked how it's just so chaotic.
I understand why they did it. It was to show that Dutch's plan of running away to a tropical island wasn't going to work. And
you don't think they were trying to recreate what they did in Red Dead 1, which is when they went to Mexico?
I think they were, but I also think it's done to show that Dutch wanted to go to Tahiti and wanted to farm mangoes, and they just run away to a tropical island, or they end up on a tropical island, and it's even worse in America with stuff. So it's to sort of show that Dutch's plan wasn't going to work, and it's also show that Dutch's mentality is slipping and everything like that. It does what it needs to do, but it's one of those where it's just a bit like, it's just so it's over and done with within 4 missions, and you're like, oh, bye, I guess.
Oh, and it's very restrictive too. Like you can't even explore much.
No,
it's a shame.
Yeah. But, no, Red. Obviously, we can probably stop the video there, since we don't need to go through absolutely another 20-odd minutes and everything. But Red Dead is just the series as a whole is a well done series. Any negatives you can find, you can counter it with 10 positives, which is always a good sign for a video game series.
Yeah, the criticism we put toward a piece of media, we assume everything is the way it should be, and then we start knocking off points when we have problems. So when we have this scale that we say, oh, well, there's these problems here with gameplay, and I'm sure there was loaded with bugs when it was released, and they patched those over.
Oh, well,
sure, yeah.
The famous bug is the clothing bug, where no matter what clothing you'd wear, because there's a temperature system in it in Red Dead 2.
Oh.
So you have to wear coats and everything if you're in a cold temperature. But in certain places where the camp is, you'll be in a swamp where it's 30 degrees, and someone will be, oh, aren't you cold in that? And you're wearing a massive woolly jump, but a woolly coat and everything. It's a bit no, I'm sweating to death. So that was one of the bugs.
How did they fix that? They decided just to remove it all entirely.
Yeah,
which is a shame, but whatever.
Well, yeah,
I'd rather have it removed and listen to Hosea tell me for the 90th time. Your coldness, Matthias. Why would I do a 9/11 joke? Why would I do one of those? Sorry, he's just put in chat. Do a 9/11 joke, Hawk. I'm like, no.
Arthur redeemed himself because he flew into the World Trade Center. I don't know.
Dutch van der Linde's plan. If I just fly into these 2 towers, we'll have enough money to farm mangoes into here.
Well, this is like other big production games that are beloved. They're like a standard that we look at all their games. Like with The Witcher 3, when that came out, that was the sort of quality level that we compare to everything else that either came before it, or we're still waiting for that level of quality as Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2. That for whatever reason, Rockstar knows what they're doing. And they take their time, the same way Blizzard takes their time, or used to take their time, that they know how to release a title, or at least give the people what they want and not capitulate for this or that feature, or throwing in multiplayer for whatever reason. They do have multiplayer for these games, and that's more of like a longevity, not a storytelling reason. They just put it in there because people want to get more out of it, which is kind of strange because there's so much content already in these simulation open world games. So I don't know what's next. Like, they could make another open world game like in the future, like a Cyberpunk or whatever. So they have the contemporary settings with all these cars and vehicles in GTA. You have the Wild West. Would it be the desert? Like, what would be the next open world setting that there could be? What would it be? I don't know. I really don't know because it's not my genre.
I'd be interested in seeing like in Mexico or some other island. I don't know if they practiced.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of like Assassin's Creed gets away with doing different settings every year. I don't know what they're up to this year, but they're always trying to reinvent the wheel that they already created, and they sometimes do very well, and sometimes they figured it out. And I thought the multiplayer would have been a great idea. It didn't work out so well. So there's all kinds of.
I think with Assassin's Creed, it's like, well, if they just had good stories, then they would be fine. Honestly,
yeah. If they just had,
it's just the characters are boring and one-sided, and so nobody cares.
If they just
gameplay's fun.
If they just had the actual historical events be the story, they'd be fine. But no, they have to put in this sci-fi weirdo frame. That makes no sense half the time.
It's like I've been hearing about, what was it, Fallout London, that's been made, and I'm a bit like, I don't know, I'm not really interested in that.
Is that the Fallout franchise?
Yeah, Fallout. Yeah, being set in London.
Really, I didn't know that. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I heard.
Wait, by Bethesda?
I think so. Or I can't remember. I just saw it quickly on my Facebook feed as like there's concept art of it and what they're planning on doing. So I'm a bit like, But my thing is if they're going to do an open world, they need to make it as good as what Red Dead's open world was, because Red Dead's world is a living, breathing world where I mean they gave like lives to the NPCs. So it's one of those where it's a bit like you can just sit in, like, say, Valentine, the first town, and watch the world go by, and people will do like a 9-to-5 job, go home, and like will get up in the morning and do stuff. Whereas, like, say with like Fallout 4, all it was muting Preston Garvey, and
See, I always thought games that need more depth or need more to it, like, because with Assassin's Creed you have all these time periods, but games like BioShock, the setting is the story. To put something into, like, say, London, like, you'd have to really like you do obviously an alternative history telling, make it theocratic, do steampunk, do biopunk, do whatever, and then give it some kind of twist. Like, you have to really make it interesting.
Because you'd be thinking like the London of the Fallout universe would be completely different to the modern day London.
Oh yeah, and maybe if you're just talking about the city, it should be totally cool because there's plenty of regions to work with this giant environment.
Oh, sorry. Oh, is it Fallout London as a Fallout 4 fan mod? Is that what Mark's saying? Oh well, that's no good, is it? That's pretty shit. I saw it as
is there London creatures over there?
They're just called immigrants, Eric. Stop being so racist.
Oh,
like this is the kind of analysis or creativity you expect from the designers of these games. It's like, what do you do with the universe of Fallout to make it outside of the States? Like, what would happen? And if it's something completely different, like everything's a futuristic society, It wouldn't make any sense if it was like barbarianism. Like, no, that wouldn't make any sense. So it has to be something that, like, like take McCarthyism. That was the idea, just cranked up to 10 with nuclear energy or whatever in Fallout. In London,
like say, be monarchy, like an empire thing.
Right. It would be some sort of holy empire of Britannia or something that took over and kept everyone safe. And I don't know, there'd have to be like underground tunnels, or how do you survive the fallout? Like something like that. And you'd have the same way that Moscow or St. Petersburg has this incredible underground life. You could live your entire life underground with the metro. And
the metro stuff, because the metro games did that, didn't they?
Right. Yeah. See, something like that. Like, we don't know about that, and it's through video games we learn about history. Like, geez, there is an amazing system just underground for the metro to get around, and it's treated like a city, and that's fascinating. How would you? That's one way to survive nuclear fallout, like stuff like that. And you could put that with the BioShock universe, you could do the Fallout universe, you could put whatever setting or franchise you like with that concept. And with Red Dead, it's just the Wild West. It's just a period of time, and allowing the player to have as much opportunity for gameplay is staggering to design all those features and mechanics. It's nuts. So to put a story that's worthwhile, that is, I mean, I would imagine this game would still be good without the open world, because the story is there.
Yeah. If this was a linear game, it would still be good.
Exactly. And I think because it's open world, it allows more people into it, because if you just want to run around, you can do that. You can start shooting people.
It's like, I'm sure, like with my playthroughs and everything, I've spent a good couple of days just being a mountain man, hunting deer and elk, and living in a tent, and not doing any main missions, and like going back to camp in like animal furs and a massive like foot-long beard. And you know what I mean? It's you can. I
love hunting. I love selling it to the guy or whoever, and
the trapper,
create interesting clothes and whatnot. I like doing that.
Yeah, you can just ignore the entire story and just run around and not do anything. I mean, when I finished,
it's one of those. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, when I finished the main story and I'm like John in the open world, all I do is work on the ranch, then go into Blackwater, play poker, and get drunk. It's like it's amazing. You just it's something so simple, but you can do it.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm thinking of games like Starfield are going to hit this other niche, because we're hitting the. Well, I wouldn't say we're hitting it, but we're probably already there with like Star Citizen, where we're hitting these games that are so big that, like, the first idea was the online game. So World of Warcraft is this ongoing persistent universe. It's open world, but everything's set up to do everything mechanically for multiplayer online experiences. And Starfield is like, well, we're still going to do single player, but we're going to try and simulate that in another format. And Star Citizen's like, well, we're doing everything. We're doing this project that never ends. It's going to be released in stages. Like, you're going to get the single player, then you're going to get the flight combat, then you're going to get space exploration, then you're going to get like base building and all this. It's going to keep coming and coming and coming, provided people actually keep spending money on it. I don't know, but it's just a big project. So these games that are focused on a story, like the Fallout franchise, that are single player, this is what we're interested in, and we always will be. Until they incorporate story into other means, like in sequels or DLCs or other formats like mobile games. I can't really see it working that effectively. It could, like you have like the Fallout Shelter game, which was really popular. If that was incorporated into the main game of Fallout 4, but it never really was a focus because you had base building, or I wouldn't even call it base building. You just built stuff in Fallout 4, which, funny enough, reminds me of Fortnite, because in Fortnite you could just build crazy structures out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And with Fallout, it's structured. No, you have to get resources. You have to have all these specific gadgets and tools.
The number of springs I've had to get.
Yeah, it's duct tape and springs and screws, which is the main things you need for Fallout 4. So I
have springs and screws. Here's this building I made. You're like, what the fuck?
I found water. Let me just put this random hose in the ground, and voila, we got a pump. You're like, what the? Okay.
But Fallout 3, it was a problem to make purified water.
Well, that was the whole plot of the game. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm waiting for the next. Well, not the next big flop. No one wants to see the next big flop, but that's what's going to be happening. We don't know if it's going to be a Star Citizen style flop, a Starfield style flop, or a BioWare style flop. When there's many kinds of those. So it's.
I'm sure it's going to be the next BioWare flop because they've got two of them brewing up supposedly.
Yeah, the last two are already a flop, and then we're going to have two more that are a flop.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Which is why I've always said with Red Dead, I'm happy to wait years for another Red Dead game, because let's be say Red Dead Redemption 2 came out in 2018. It's 4 years later, and I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, we're gonna be the old men of video gaming, where we're always gonna reminisce about the old days, and we have our brand favorites. You know, it's if Rockstar comes out with another game, you know, I'll wait the decade and I'll pick it up. It's kind of like, Dad, I got you a new bottle of wine. It's like, no, it's not Cabernet. Don't want it. No, not from this vintner. Don't want it.
I got this new game from.
It's been 12 years since the first one, and I've enjoyed the first game. Still, it's like there's still a lot of exploration to do, and I like treasure hunt.
That's like I've got the first one on that wasn't the backwards compatibility.
Lucky.
So I've bought, so I rebought it, and it's like still good, still enjoy it. Obviously it's not good as much as the sequel has, but it's still a damn good game with a damn good story. So they're good games.
I've been doing the same. And what I've always liked too is like the fact that there's two characters control, and you play the stranger mission and see how they act between the characters. That's currently what I'm trying to do. Just save everything for John, and I've actually recorded footage just to kind of compare it. I don't know. I find that interesting, just the way they deliver the same line.
It's the thing is, what I also like about Red Dead 2 is that they gave lines for John Marston for all the stranger missions as well.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that.
All right. Well, guys, that was a very relaxing Sunday to cap off the evening. I always have a good meal, and I indulge myself a bit with Sunday dinner. And that was relaxing. Didn't have to do too much talking. My throat's not dry. Everything's great. It's fantastic.
It's nice not to shout at crazy socialists.
For one moment of my day, I know I go to Twitter, it's going to start all up again, and
it's why
you're a racist.
Yeah, because Jordan Peterson doesn't like fat chicks.
Not even fat chicks like fat chicks.
Yeah, well, there's actually a guy and telling me that Nazism is not left leaning, and I'm like, oh god, here we go again.
I can hear Whisp screaming into the nether about how Nazism is left wing.
Yeah, and it was on a weird video. I don't even know which one it was, from like 3 years ago I did with LitDev, on art or something. I was like, what the frickin' hell is going on here? So I'm just going to say, read this book, sir, and, have a great day, because I don't care anymore.
Sir, just play Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2. Just do that. Come back to me.
Yeah, well,
you'll forget about Nazism.
I forgot that I have a life outside of Red Dead.
Yeah, same.
Oh yeah, does your girl still play it?
Oh no, not anymore. No.
What?
Well, for her to play it means I'm not playing it. So,
good point.
I'm not letting her do it. Oh.
My brother had saved over my file, and I got so pissed. I had to restart everything. I don't know. I can't redo everything. I just want to restart over. Like, we're gonna do it right this time.
We'll restart and do it right this time.
Apparently, we have memes, guys. I don't see any. Oh, we got one. Okay, let me check those out.
We got memes, really?
Yeah, quite a few memes actually.
Okay.
Let's check these out. This is from Great Scott. Thank you, sir. I have a plan. I just need money. It's a Kickstarter. GoFundMe. That's good.
Only a plan.
Yeah, it's a weird part of the plot where you could make lots of money if you just grind as a gamer, but the plot needs ridiculous amount.
It is like you can find all of the treasure that you need in the game, and you can make the money that you need, like $1 million or something. It's still not enough for Dutch.
But it's also funny how like he goes, I have a plan and all that. That literally comes from one line in in the first game where he goes, I have a plan, John. And like John Marston goes, you always have a plan, Dutch. Now it's like he's
meeting like this.
Yeah. So in the second game, he's always going, I have a plan, a goddamn plan.
If this plan works, we don't need to kill anyone. The gang kills everyone. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love that they give Arthur shit for killing people, yet Michael kills people left and right.
Oh no! Here's I actually remember seeing some of these, but this is obviously for jokes. The character portraits, and they have like little whatever sayings.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Uncle. Oh, I'm real sick, John. I've got lumbago. It's a slow and painful death.
Lumbago.
It's a slow and painful death.
Arthur Morgan says, "Hey, Mister."
Hey, Mister.
John.
Hey,
Marston,
Mister.
You eat babies. Like what the?
Oh, that's from the Undead Nightmare DLC where he shoots a Sasquatch. And it's like, you eat babies, and the Sasquatch goes, "No, we eat berries." He's like, "No, you eat babies, and you're evil."
I need to finish that game. I've never gotten that part yet. Is that like the side missions or?
Yeah, it's one of the stranger missions.
Oh, okay.
Here's Dutch, and he just says Tahiti.
Tahiti. The mangoes.
And there's some videos, but I won't play those because they'll probably.
Yeah, copyright.
I don't know. You know what? I got copyright hit for the video we did. Was it 2 days ago or? I can't remember.
Or what?
Yeah.
Oh, the video you put? Okay.
Yeah, it was using. There's two guys talking about Kylo Ren.
All right.
So.
They
used a lot of footage from the movies and they didn't cut it properly.
Oh right.
So I got hit with that. And I was like, oh god, I can't keep doing this.
How did the other YouTubers get away with it?
They either wait it out, or they petition the YouTube and they also wait it out because these very rarely go to court, so it just takes time. But I'm stuck waiting either way. So
I'm just like, but fair use is pretty clear. Like I don't know why there's gotta be.
It's all automated, and the people behind it, they're just clicking the button saying yes. So, and these are big corporations.
Yeah.
Like I got hit with some Russian national anthem I put into my Clever Noobs video where I posted a bunch of comments he deleted. Like that was like almost a decade ago.
Really?
Yeah, and I had some other music because I ran out of time with the 3-minute national anthem, so then I had like some other music, and it was both. They both hit me at the same time. So I was like, wait. So it's completely automated. These are completely different accounts that I pulled music from. So yeah, no, YouTube is just getting tighter and tighter with its content ID.
Well, with the people they disagree.
Well, it's just, I remember like 10 years ago, there was a YouTube spokeslady, and she's like, it would be impossible for us to check every single second of every single video to have copyright material. And that was like, 10 years ago. Now it's like, you figured that out within like 3 years. That's when Content ID came around. And now it can check as soon as it's uploaded. Boom. You've got video and audio Content ID. And it's for like this, like sometimes it's for seconds of audio or video, even if that audio or video is like has stuff on top of it or other people talking or other audio tracks, it still flags it. And the people who own the video or whatever just automatically say, yeah, get rid of that, get rid of that. Like, okay, but fair use. And then you go back and forth, and sometimes the YouTube correspondent, whoever takes your problem, sometimes says, nope, that's not why you have fair use. And you're like, what? That's not for you to decide. You're just a platform. You don't get to do that. I get to do that. It's between me and the content creator, not you. You're just the third party. But in case that has changed, so YouTube gets involved now, and I have to wait. I'm still waiting. Those 90 days should be over in about another month for the first content strike. So yeah, if I get a second one, I can't upload. So it's like, all right, I got to be careful. Anyway, we've been going on for a while. It's getting late. I want to relax, and you guys should. Well, it's a long weekend here, so I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
Oh, I've got tomorrow off.
And
then I'm back at work for about 15 days straight. Hooray!
Alrighty.
Yeah, last day of working, so then I'll have the weekend too.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, that was just fun smut talk. I it's like I didn't have to play the games. It just gave me all the story all at once. It was great. So thank you so much. We'll be going back.
But you play the game.
Yeah, I know. all these great games. We're like, yes, please play these games. They're very good. Yeah, I know. We should have to say that. It's kind of obvious, but
it's one of those where I don't give a lot of recommendations for stuff, but it's like Red Dead 1 and 2. Yeah, play them.
Yeah, I remember those screenshots for Red Dead 2, and I was like, they were just the wilderness. And I was like, holy, that looks gorgeous. And it was just 4 shots.
People take screenshots of Red Dead 2 and send them into like news stations for their nature photo shoots and stuff, and then win awards for the nature shots. It's like it's a video game.
Oh dear.
Crazy.
All right. Well, that was fun. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Have a great long weekend wherever you are, and take it easy. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Lumbago.